What's going on, everybody? It's your boy PTK Blam back another beautiful Saturday with the Shop Podcast. How is everybody doing out there on the interwebs? Joining us once again for another awesome Saturday. Had a jam-packed week full of news, full of information. Always glad to see you guys hanging out in the chat once again. You guys know what to do. All the information is below for our guests as well as each panel member. So please go follow us on Twitter or other social media as well. All of that's down in the description. Appreciate you guys. Make sure you run the link up. Let everybody know the Shop Podcast is live. We love to have a lot of fun in here. Talk games every single Saturday. So let everybody know. Dive in here. Have some fun with us. Kick your feet up. But we'll go ahead and do our rounds real quick. I'm gonna do a quick shout out to a couple people here in the chat. Only on Xbox. Shonsu, what's up, brother? Obviously, we got our guest here today. But yeah, as you guys fall in, hit the like button. If you do want to continue to support the Shop Podcast, you guys can be a part of the Shop Podcast patrons. There's a join button as well. So you want to support in that way, we'd love for you to do that as well. But let's go ahead and just get to our guests. We'll get to our topics here shortly. But we're going to start with you, Asante. How you doing, brother? Thank you for hanging out once again. How's your week been?
Good evening. Good evening. Oh, I've had a great week, great week of gaming with all the awesome news and things that happened in the world of gaming. Feel like it's it's Game of Christmas right now. And of course, Halo's been causing a lot of sleepless nights. I think you know what I'm talking about, PTK.
Oh, yeah.
We've been having some fun. So, yes, I'm here to talk. It's good. I'm happy to be on here again. Thank you so much for the invite. And of course, the panel members, the legendary panel members. I am honored to be among you once again. Yes.
We appreciate you, man. You guys know K Asante, been on the show before, man. We're all a big fan of his, man. So appreciate you for hanging out once again every single Saturday. His information is in the description below. Please go support everything he's doing. Just go to Twitter, follow him there. I'm sure you'll be able to keep up with everything else he has going on as well. So let me go ahead and get to my four horsemen here, my three horsemen here. Sorry. We'll start out with you, Pong Harvey. How you been this week, man? It's been jam-packed. A lot of stuff going on this week. I've been seeing you all over Twitter, but how you been? How you been, brother?
Not on Twitter as much as I normally am, I tell you what. But yeah, Mav and I did a 5-hour live stream of the Game Awards on Thursday night. So it's been definitely a heavy podcast week. Lots to talk about. The golden age is upon us, man. Hellblade 2.
You got to get that on a shirt. You got to copyright that.
I know I do. I really do.
TM,
even though it's been used, yeah, I am the one that has been saying it the most. So I should have rights to it. But yeah, no. Hellblade 2, Matrix Awakens, my God, this is something special we've got coming up this gen. But it's been a great week. We got all these demos in the ID at Xbox. We've got Halo, and more Halo. I'm enjoying the campaign. Obviously, I'm still grazing everywhere else, but I'm enjoying the Halo campaign. It is everything I wanted in a Halo, except for loot. I need some loot, but other than that, it's been a fantastic week. We got a lot to talk about, a lot. So let's get down to it, PTK. And of course, before I forget, K Asante, brother, it's awesome to be on another show with you, man. Always love talking games with you, sir. Thank you.
Indeed.
I appreciate you, man. Pong Harvey, always here, bringing the energy. You guys know every single week. You know what to do. You go follow Pong, keep up with him all week. You can find a man all over YouTube, when he's not doing other things. But appreciate you being here, Pong, providing that energy every week, bro. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Centurion. How's your week been, brother?
It's pretty good, man. I'm excited. It's Saturday night. Time to talk about some games. We had the Video Game Awards as well. We've had Halo released. Got an amazing guest. Always enjoy conversating with fellow members of the community. And just been kind of getting some other gaming in between playing Halo. Finally grinded out Guardians of the Galaxy.
Nice.
Totally deserving of the best narrative title that they got at the VGAs. Totally. I even kind of clapped for them in my own little private. Well, I was just here by myself watching it on my big screen in my living room. So I kind of clapped for them because,
did you have pants on?
Oh, dude, I'm weird, man. I give people crap, and I have a friend of mine that once told me that, hey, I was sitting here in my boxers. Will you please put some pants on? I don't feel comfortable knowing that I'm sitting there playing games with somebody in their underwear, man. But yeah, no, definitely had pants on for sure. Applaud, we'll get into it later, but I definitely applaud Jeff Keighley. I actually enjoyed the show. I enjoyed some of the things he had to say. Definitely, it was a very good VGAs. Other than that, man, I've been just trying to find what little time I can to play Halo because, oh my God, freaking, I'm sorry, but I'm a nut for collectibles. So as soon as I got dropped onto the ring, and I'm like, oh, collectibles. Oh, there goes my time.
Oh yeah, I've been doing more side missions. I think I've done maybe 1 or 2 main story missions. Everything else has been just like running around doing shit. So I
my
feel you.
OCD kicks in hard. It's like, okay, those are the story missions. So I need to first go find all the collectibles. I got to do all the outposts. And then once everything else is done, then we'll do a story mission.
Yeah, it gets it's the best problem to have for sure. But either way, appreciate you here, Centurion man. Always bringing the energy. Thank you every single week. Last but not least, Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere. How you been doing, Fuzz?
Been doing pretty good. Been playing a bunch of games and watching the awards, and man, just so much good stuff going on between the awards and unveilings and demos, and man, not quite overwhelming just yet, but it's getting close.
Oh yeah.
But man, can't wait to get into these topics. Glad we have Keisante on here tonight. Let's do this.
Let's do it. So let's dive in once again, chat. Let us know how you guys feel about the topics. This is all for you as well every single week. So we like to have engagement in here. So if you guys want to do that, you guys can also, answer the topics as well if you don't know already. But let's go ahead and dive in, man. We got a whole lot to talk about. So we're going to start with the poll of the week, obviously. So every single week on Monday, we talk about the poll of the week. Then I posted the poll of the week, then we talk about it here on Saturday. So follow along on Twitter if you guys want to see that every single Monday. But this week was Halo, obviously, right? Like it would be anything else this week. But the question was, with Halo Infinite campaign dropping tomorrow, if you could pick the first set of DLC campaign, what would it be? So I gave 4 different options. There's a lot of options to choose from, but I wanted to kind of vary it up. So I got the Flood, Fireteam Osiris, Arbiter Sangeli, Buck, or Hell Team Jumper. If you don't know, that was ODST, Buck and the Hell Jumper team. So Flood won 53%. I figured it would when I posted this because it was actually my choice. I love the Flood, and I always wanted Gravemind to come back in some way, just because he never really got any conclusion. He was essentially, he's the Flood. That's the Flood. He's the Flood. So I'd like to see him make a return to some capacity, and I think the Flood adds something really different to Halo, that horror aspect. I remember playing the first Halo and actually being scared the first time seeing the Flood, and it's not even that type of game. So to me, the Flood seems like the most logical choice, but we'll start with our guest here. We got 4 options, or you don't even have to pick an option on the list, Asante. So which one would you choose, brother, if you were responsible for, picking what's going to be the first campaign DLC?
Oh no, you know what? And maybe this is a hedge, but I think most would want the Flood, and the Flood would be acceptable for me. I want like a fill-in story to maybe Locke or something like that.
Okay,
on
that was on there.
On Halo 5.
That's Fireteam Osiris.
They left some threads out there, and I want to see where Fireteam Osiris left off. Respect on that man named Locke. I would like to see where that went. But no, I appreciate the Flood and their contributions to the Halo lore. So.
Okay. Oh no, that makes sense. 100%. I agree. I mean, I like Fireteam Osiris. It's gonna be interesting if they even decide to bring Locke back, because at this point, Asante, how does he fit, in the story? But once again, if this is a 10-year plan, they're gonna figure that out. But he wasn't necessarily the most beloved Halo character. I think he did get a bad rap. I agree with you, Asante. People dogpiled on Locke because they wanted Chief. I get it. And that's a really high, matter of fact, that's an impossible bar to live up to. But he does play a crucial role in the story. I would like to see him come back as well. So just to kind of elaborate on what you said, what type of what would they be doing? Like what kind of DLC would it be for?
I mean, you
Osiris?
could backfill.
Would they be partnering up?
Backfill the story, because for those who've seen who've been playing the story, we of course know with no spoilers, but they did a bit of a jump, right? And they're backfilling through audio logs, certain things. You can literally have a whole campaign or mini campaign, if you will, where it tells you the story of what got him where he presumably is. Right? There's a lot of room to maneuver there in the 10-year story. So I just hope that they go back. I want to see Halsey's face one more time. not necessarily just hear her in audio logs all the time, right? So, we heard a lot that, during the audio logs, that what happened to some famous characters that we're aware of. I would like to see more of that visual aspect of it be filled in, including, incorporating the Oni and things like that. Those stories are still ripe for investigation and digging through, even if Infinite has taken a bit of a jump to it's almost like they passed those characters to where now he's alone. We can still fill out the back and see how he got to be alone,
Yeah, no, good point. There's a good point. There's a good point. So there's a lot of, so the one thing is funny because I always notice, Asante, that they use a lot of the lore during the marketing, but they don't ever utilize it in game as much, right? If you ever think about the Halo marketing, we get a lot of backstory through the marketing. They use it to draw us in, but they don't actually utilize it in the game enough. So it's gonna be interesting.
Shout out to my panel, my guest today on today's show of the Gaming Circle podcast. They were talking about that. People love Bungie's influence on Halo and their contributions, but if you really pay attention, none of the Bungie Halos really used much of that lore. You didn't hear about the Forerunners and all the extras until after 343 got in the mix, right? So I'm actually interested to see that they go further. I would presume, in addition to gameplay elements and whatnot, that is why they brought back Mr. Joe Staten, right?
Joe Staten, yep.
Yep, that's right. So I would look forward to see it. And the man wrote the book. I'm actually reading his book right now. The man knows what he's talking about when it comes to Halo. He, the naming conventions and all of that is all him.
He's day one. Right? He's day one.
That's right.
Day one.
So I would really love them to lean more into the story aspect of it, as they have been, and flesh some of that stuff out. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Because I think that's what keeps people around. I think I fell in love with the lore. Look at Destiny. That's what kept me on Destiny, to be honest with you. When during the dry times, that first year of Destiny, that first year of Destiny 2, when the DLC wasn't quite there yet and the content wasn't there yet, that lore kind of kept me playing and doing dailies and all the little cool stuff you find out, kind of grinding through the game. So I definitely want to see more of that from Halo. But good choice either way. Fireteam Osiris was on the list. So by the way, the Flood did win that poll. 54% wasn't even close. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Pong Harvey. Get your opinion out of those four options. I know you're kind of a casual Halo fan, so you might not have as much like backstory level information.
Oh, you've heard that? You've heard?
Oh yeah,
that
I've heard that. Yeah, okay, I mean, you've told me that. I mean, but so I mean, I'm just saying you may not be as well versed as far as the lore aspect, but there may be some things you want to see, even as just a more casual Halo fan.
Well, my favorite Halo is ODST. So I took Buck and Hill Jumpers, right? Yep. So yeah, I want that experience again. I want that different style again, even though I'm loving Infinite, right? This is totally different from the other Halos as well. But ODST for me was the first time that I really connected on more than a casual level with a Halo game. And that was the one that I enjoyed the most. And so I'd love to go back to that. I just love the style of it. I love the city to city, the city block by block fighting. I just love that environment, as well as obviously Buck, and all the stories, the mini stories that they told without cutscenes, just through those audio logs and stuff, were incredible. And so I'd love to get back to that again. And I'm hoping that we do, because that is an interesting dynamic that not every Halo game brings. And so I'd like to go back and revisit. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. No, nothing wrong with that at all. I agree. I think that's that was the first Halo that gave us like some. Because I mean, we really never got the opportunity to look at it from a different perspective outside of Chief's helmet. So that was the first time we were able to. If you were being honest, that's like really Halo DL. It's really DLC. It was really just DLC that they just decided to make a game out of, because it could have just been standalone DLC. But back then they weren't doing that. But yeah, I agree. ODST was an amazing story. If you guys have not, go play ODST if you've never gotten a chance to do it. Really great, completely different feel than the usual Halo. So I loved it, though. I agree with you on that one, Pong. And Buck was such a cool damn character anyway. So really, really love to see him come back. So interesting to see if they would fit in the story and how they would do it. But with a 10-year plan, they got plenty of damn time. So there's no rush at all. Let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Fuzz. Get your opinion on, if you were responsible for putting out the first DLC, if you had your finger on the button and said, okay, I'm the final person, I give the final say so, for this DLC, what would be your choice?
It's a tough one. Now, I eventually voted the Flood, and I'll get into more detail why. But I like the Team Osiris idea that Kayasante was talking about, as far as just more backstory on Locke. But 5 being the first Halo for me, it'd be nice to kind of just get a little bit more of his story and stuff like that. But the reason why I voted the Flood, we had talked about this like horror / Halo idea before, where it's like you're on a ring and it's pretty much only like nighttime, and you're trying to restore the power throughout that ring type of deal, and the Flood are pretty much rampant on the ring type of deal. So it's almost like limited supplies, limited ammo, and the ring is overrun with the Flood type of thing.
I'd pay for that.
But that just for kind of like more of a, dare I say, a Doom-esque type of approach on things. Just if they're going to do kind of like a spin-off or DLC or something, just to try new things, I would definitely be up for a horror space approach type of gameplay with Halo, and having the Flood as that.
Do you think that they could fit that in as DLC at some point? Maybe not so much the horror aspect, but you think they can still fit it in the story? Because Kayasante, you brought up a great point. They have jumped quite a bit as far as time, so we got to consider that as well.
Well, but I mean, we're not going into spoiler territory, but there are some names being thrown around, both in the meta of people hearing like trademarks, and also mentioned inside the game, that seems to suggest that they might be able to do something there. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to go too far with that, but it does sound like there is some threads that are kind of connecting there.
Good point. Go ahead, Fuzz. My bad.
No. That would be awesome if they can find a way to kind of work that into the schedule, because with this being like a 10-year ongoing content and support and stuff like that, it hopefully we'll get a taste of that, something along those lines that will just give us something a little bit different, that not necessarily finishes the story, but just adds into the overall. I would definitely look forward to something like that to try out.
Awesome. So I love that idea, and so that's something, because me and you've been talking about that, Fuzz. Like, they could literally make a standalone game with the Flood. Like you said, they could do a standalone like horror Halo type game with just the Flood and Master Chief, and it would probably sell like gangbusters for sure. The template's already pretty much there. You got the characters, you got the world, everything is there. You just got to put it all together. So I don't know if they'll ever take that chance with Halo to turn it into some kind of horror Resident Evil like game, but I think it's interesting. It would definitely give a good twist to Halo for sure, and it definitely. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Centurion. Get your opinion on, if you were able to pick the first campaign DLC for Halo, who are you throwing in there? And I know you're a true Halo fan, so.
Well, I voted for the Flood. I feel that the Flood, outside of the elites, were one of the better enemy types in Halo that I really loved. I did love that horror-esque thing.
I'm a Gravemind stan for sure. I'm a big Gravemind fan.
I mean, what could be more kind of like frightening than a creature getting inside you and turning you into some crazy monstrosity, and you just basically lose all form of humanity. Yeah. And the funny part is, the Flood no living organism is immune to the Flood in the game. They go after brutes, they go after the elites. It doesn't matter who they get their hands on. They pretty much consume anything in their way, hence the name.
They had hands. I didn't see them have hands.
Well, sorry, get their little wiggly tentacles
appendages
on. Appendages, but yeah,
dad jokes tonight. Sorry.
Oh no, it's all good. Oh, come on, man. One of my favorite television shows of all time was Stargate, about getting snakes in the head. So hey, the Flood is right up that alley. Definitely. The Flood, I just feel, really would help bring in a lot of interest to the franchise, especially for outside of the fans that already know who the Flood is. But for the fans who don't really know the Flood, all they're going to see is these monsters and these creatures, and they're going to kind of be just a little bit curious, and to find out the lore behind the Halo rings themselves, on why the Halo rings exist in the first place, is because of the Flood.
Yep.
And we all, not everybody played Halo Wars 2, but technically the Flood and Atriox's little group of the Banished kind of go hand in hand, because while the Banished were screwing around with the UNSC forces on the Pillar of Autumn, they unintentionally released another second wave of the Flood. When the galaxy thought that the Flood was gone, all of a sudden, lo and behold, there's another group of it alive and well on that ring. So definitely, I feel that they do have a good chance to kind of make a very big appearance once again. And I mean, that was one of the more intriguing things for me, especially when it came to Halo 3, was how the Gravemind decided to strike a deal with Master Chief and the Arbiter to basically help give them a leg up in the what was going on, because the Flood didn't want the Prophets to have the ring either, because whoever controls the ring has the ability to fight the Flood. So therefore, it was really interesting when all of a sudden you see the Gravemind show its face, and all of a sudden they're speaking. It kind of reminded me of like the old school Borg back from Star Trek, about how they one mind, but they all speak for each other. And the Gravemind is pretty much the master and commander. But if you really think about it, he's speaking for the entire Flood. They all think as one mind. Definitely they have. I would really love to see that be the first DLC, especially if I had the finger on the button to be able to cause it to happen, purely because that for me was the big Halo moments I had, was especially in Halo 3, when all of a sudden you hear them screaming that the Flood have made it to Earth, and all of a sudden it's like raining absolute carnage through the entire city, and you're just trying to get the hell out of there.
Oh yeah. Flood are amazing. And so much potential. This is just, and we're gonna get into Halo next anyway, so this is a great segue. But Halo has a universe as big and as vast as Star Wars and Star Trek.
Oh yeah,
if you really look at the books and everything that goes on with Halo. But that's first segue. Let's go ahead and just get into the next topic though before we get caught up. But so we're talking a little bit about Halo campaign that released. Obviously, we had a big week. A lot of big things happened, but the highlight for me was the Halo Infinite campaign releasing. And first and foremost, it was 40 plus people playing that game the day I got home to play it, the day it came out. I don't recall the last time that's ever happened. It's been that many people on my friend list playing the same game at the same time. So that just goes to show you the power of Halo. Everybody's still playing it. I'm enjoying the shit out of it. The campaign is amazing. It's a Halo that I didn't know that I wanted. In my opinion, they gave me more than I could have even imagined, because I always pictured a Halo, open world Halo, but I never really considered like what it actually would look like when you put it together. Because that's two different things. It's one thing having an idea, but when you put it together, like in game, is it going to work? This works, and it feels natural for Halo. So I think that's the biggest thing for me. It doesn't feel like I'm trying to, like they shoehorned it into an open world. It felt like it was supposed to be like, that's just a natural progression for Halo. So that's the big thing for me, Asante. We'll start with you on this one, brother. The Halo Infinite campaign release, me and you been staying up late nights talking in chat, playing it. Mm-hmm. Where you at with it, man? Is it, like I said, for me, the progression from that linear, Halo to this, it just feels natural. And I think that for me, it feeling like that makes it like easier for me to digest. So go ahead for you, Asante.
Yeah, it is definitely a very unique experience, right? I initially, everybody started talking about the potential of it being that open world Halo, and what does that mean? And is it the Ubisoft Halo and da 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 da? Yes, it is all of that, but it is glorious in all of that. I find myself, and I'm usually not a completionist like that. I want the story. That's what I'm there for. I play multiplayer, but I tend to be a single player gamer more often than not. So I will head right down the middle path. I'll head down the main campaign. I'll do a few things on the side here, but I want to see where the story goes. In this instance, I have finished 2 main campaign story missions. I finished 2 main story campaign missions, and then I basically went through and upgraded my grapple shot to the 100%. I upgraded my shields to 100%. made sure I cleared up as much as I could on that map at that point before I went to the next story beat. And as soon as I finished that next story beat, I'm right back at it, because as soon as you finish one, they add a few more points of interest on your map that you can go then and go find your Spartan cores, and you can find this. I can't find, like, I need to look it up. I think I'm way more than like possibly 13, 14, 15 hours into this game, and I'm not even 20% complete with the story. And that's how I want it to be. I do not want to rush through that story, because it is worthy. It really is. And I put a poll up as well, basically, as I saw you did. You know, everybody's has Halo on their timeline, or Halo in their Xbox Live friends list. So I asked, you know, what is the consensus? And by and large, people are saying, and of course you take it with a grain of salt, because you don't know where they come from with Halo, but they're saying this is the best Halo ever. And I have to agree. Like, I have played the Master Chief Collection probably more than any other game in the last 4 or 5 years. Like, I keep playing those. And even recently, shout out to my ILP, my primetime gaming brethren, Cybernox. He basically went through to complete all the mainline Halos before Infinite came out. So we played it again, right? And we played it all on Legendary. It still has something to give you every time you try and you play that. And it's still very, very special, right? For some reason, after getting really deep into Infinite, I can't go back to the Master Chief Collection, and that's terrible. You know what I mean? Like, that is, I mean, and it could possibly be because I'm still deep into this Halo Infinite, and I'm still grinding away at it slowly. You know, maybe I need to step away from the old material a little bit first and then come back to it later. But I got to tell you, this is, like you said, perfectly said. This is the Halo that I didn't know I wanted. You know, it has that Ubisoft formula, you know, that people were scared of, but not exactly, right? It gives you that open world. It lets you tackle it any way you want. You can even be stealth with that big old 7-foot giant, right? You can stay from afar and you can snipe. I find myself doing a lot of crackdown stuff, like trying to reach the highest heights, and I actually got an achievement for that. Using that grapple shot to do some weird stuff. I'm Spider-Man in. How long can I Spider-Man throughout a level without my feet touching the ground? You know, because when you upgrade your grapple shot to its highest capability, the cooldown slows considerably. So there's at a point where you can get into a rhythm if you have enough things to grab onto in the world, where right when the cooldown happens and you're falling, you can grab again, and you falling and you grab again. I've been able to consistently do that for a good amount of time, you know, like just Spider-Maning around this level. It is very special. It is a very, very special game. And I mean, I was going to say, if nobody's played it, you should definitely go do that. Y'all are playing it. Clearly, based on all the lists that we're seeing, everyone is playing it. Now, one thing I will make mention, and maybe these people were disingenuous, but in the poll that I did, I think 4% or so called it trash. If you were being earnest, I would love to have a conversation with you about that, and we could chop that up and try to understand. I know there are a few people in my timeline in the community who are really genuinely against Halo for one reason or another. That's not, you know, ridiculous. That's an interesting conversation I would love to have, because I cannot, if you're a gamer, like a die-in-a-wool gamer, and you play multiplayer and you play shooters, I cannot see how you play this game and call it trash. You know, I'm loving it. I think it's one of the best entries in Halo possible. It's great. Recency bias in there, yes, I know, but I still think it is one of the best Halos I've played, and this should solidify 343 as finally stepping out of the shadow of Bungie, that even Bungie themselves can't seem to step out of their own shadow. You know, the original Halos are still there for you to enjoy. Master Chief Collection's going nowhere. You know, it's still going to be there. But this Halo is really 343's Halo. Like they threaded that needle perfectly, and I'm there for it. I'm going to try my hardest to continue to play this game slowly and not finish it as quickly as possible. You know, I'm loving it. That's my take on it.
All right. Well, no, I wholeheartedly agree because we've been playing. We were up playing, me and you. You know, I know you. I saw that
Sleepless
post on
nights, man.
Twitter.
Sleepless
Yeah,
nights.
and shout out to Everborn as well, my guy.
Uh-huh.
Part of the Gaming Circle podcast. But yeah, it's definitely a completely different experience, man. And I'm not even as far as you are. I'm still super early. Like I said, I'm just doing all the side stuff and bouncing around and just kind of playing around through the environment, trying to find stuff. But it's an amazing experience. I didn't know what this would feel like. And so that's why I always thought it was weird when people gave their opinion because like none of us ever really knew what an open world Halo would look like. Now I understand it's not open world in the GTA sense, but it's open world and that's a large map. It's a lot to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty busy. So I'm excited. And I'm excited to see where they go. They got a lot of room to play with. I think Asante, I think they gave themselves a lot of room on purpose. Obviously, we heard the reports that there was a lot cut from the game. So the idea was a lot larger than it actually ended up being. So that means that there's room. So that's always fun. When you're talking about Halo and how large of an actual universe it is, there's a lot of room. There's a lot of stuff that they can put in there.
And I will also mention real quick before I give up the mic. I was talking with Everborn. You mentioned Everborn. I was talking to him about this. My fear now is me being that single player gamer that I've established. My fear now is since the multiplayer is technically where the money comes from, that we get this single player campaign and then we wait a year or 2 years for another one. I really hope that's not the case. I really hope that that it's a two-pronged approach, if you will, where the multiplayer folks will get their seasons. You'll keep getting that attention, but they also throw us a bone over here, right? We want some of that backfill story. Maybe they're 5-hour, 6-hour campaigns. You reusing of the same assets, so it doesn't take that long to make them. Please give us some more story campaign, even if it means a little bit of cost. I'm there for that. I'll do it. Yeah. Just give me some story campaign.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree. I think like you said, I mean, the cost thing is crazy because you would think that would be okay considering everything else we're getting doesn't cost anything for the most part. Outside of the battle pass, if you want to do that, you can. But no, you're right. The value is already insane. So even if you got to pay a little extra for it, I definitely love some campaign though. I've thought about campaign DLC. Halo's never had DLC at all. So the fact that they're even considering content beyond the first 12 months excites me. You know what I'm saying? I get happy for it as a Halo fan, admittedly. So we're going to throw this over to you. Fuzz, we'll get your opinion. And Fuzz, once again, this is what we talked about this. We do it all the time. So where are you at on this?
What, as far as like the overall campaign and everything?
Just the experience and where you at?
Oh man. New to Halo. As everybody's already probably aware, I already revealed my fraud card that, with Halo 5 being my first Halo, and always wondering when I was just on PlayStation or PS3 at least, why people would line up at midnight for this. It wasn't Grand Theft Auto, blah, blah, blah type of stuff. And now I kind of get it. I mean, with the whole Ubisoft open world stuff, I'm a fan of those games, although they are wearing a bit on me at this point. It seemed like, example, what do you call them? Assassin's Creed Valhalla was a little overwhelming as far as getting through the campaign or getting through the overall story. That's the one that I haven't finished of the past 3. But as far as the way they did the open world for Infinite, that first of all, it's one of those things where you could do the side stuff and it doesn't seem like definitely doesn't seem like a chore. It makes it feel like it's a needed part of the experience overall. Like I love saving the Marines. I love, converting the bases over for fast travel. I love just doing the side stuff, finding the Spartan cores and things along those lines. So there's not like a billion collectibles or anything like that out there, but you do want to explore and you find like, interesting things, whether it's arcades or certain dolls or sandwiches or whatever the case may be. There's a lot to find in that world. And and with, the wildlife there, every now and then grapple to an area that you probably shouldn't be, and there's wildlife there and things along those lines, and it just makes it feel alive and interactive. And I'm still learning not to fall off the ring, so that's just me being new to this, but overall I'm having fun with it. Now I've only done about maybe 3 like acts or chapters or segments of the main story. I've been doing mainly the side stuff and enjoying the heck out of it. I like the fact that the AI, act differently, and like you guys were saying earlier, you can kind of take a different approach, whether it be stealth and stuff like that, and trying to get the high ground to snipe them, and it's so satisfying shooting their helmets off or getting headshots and things like that, or just there's just so many different approaches to attacking these bases. And I usually do my stealth until I get discovered, and then it's like go loud as possible and try to use or throw those plasma things and on the enemy.
Oh yeah, those things are OP.
But yeah, just I haven't upgraded the grapple shot to the extreme. I just have it now where you can stun the people that you hit it or that you hit with it. But it's so much fun just grappling to them and butt stroke to the head type of deal, knocking them out and all. But I'm having fun with it, and I think this different approach, because like I said, 5 was my first game, and it seemed to like jump back and forth between the two ends of the story until it came to a head. Um, it this is more my pace, more my style of where the flow is based on if I want to really push the story forward, I can, or I can see what's over here. Hey, it says there's a Spartan core. I can use that to upgrade my armor or upgrade another aspect of my gear. I like taking that approach because there are some times where it's like maybe I probably should have, instead of putting this on a hard difficulty as I did, I probably should have focused on upgrading the armor. But you can take a different approach or attack differently or have them draw out to a certain area, and hopefully you have enough grenades to kind of when they draw into that funnel, you can take them out that way. But I'm just having fun with it. And I like this overall open world approach. Like we had kind of talked about what does open world mean in Halo, and like I said, me being new to it, I was like, well, maybe it's kind of like a Division type of thing where you have these mission zones, and maybe they'll have like bases that we have to like defend and stuff like that. And it has some of that, but it's not quite as well, it's definitely not grindy like
Yeah,
what,
there's no
what that
loot.
would have turned out
Well,
to
there's
be
some
type of
loot.
deal. I mean,
There's
yeah,
some loot.
there's some loot as far as getting these Spartan cores to upgrade stuff, but it's like, and then there's like certain weapons. Like I found a certain
Yeah,
weapon near the
me
arcade.
too. Legendary.
But yeah, it's so much fun. Like I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Now, I don't want to put shade on Forza. Like Forza is my normal go-to, and it's having some issues right now. They're working on it, but all that being said, I'm having fun with Halo right now, and Insurgency Sandstorm, which unfortunately is probably going to get buried because they did their big update at the same time Halo launched. So it's like, oh man, 2 games I love shooting stuff, and Division's not really doing anything until February. So yeah, I'm having fun with Halo and Insurgency, but Halo is like that's I wouldn't say surprise fun because like I said, I enjoyed 5. But it's a lot more enjoyable going through the campaign than I even imagined it would be as far as
Same
when I
here.
heard the words open world. So
Yep.
I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, no, and it's interesting because we talked about this too for us quite a bit, and like what, like you just said, what open world will mean to Halo, and it's just I never, like once it's all together, and it's so much fun, and it feels so natural, and it makes sense for the franchise. So, and it doesn't feel forced. Like I said, it doesn't feel like they tried to shoehorn it into the open world game. So it felt like they tried to make it unique as possible, but still make it Halo, still make it feel like Chief, like because Chief has to feel like he's doing something. You can't have Chief actually like running around doing nothing. Like, what is that? That doesn't even fit the character. He has to be doing something, and it has to be of some importance. So I think they did a good job of conveying that and allowing you to do things in the game, balancing that with like a bunch of side stuff and making it a little RPG-ish. That's really fun. So we'll throw it to you, Pong. You've been playing a lot of this, I know. So where are you at with the campaign?
Yeah, I got about 6-7 hours in. I'm at the tower now. I've done all the side stuff in that first area. Loving it. This is my favorite Halo experience so far. Love the story. Again, as somebody who is not, emotionally deeply invested in the lore, loved how they started out the story. I have some grievances with certain things. I'm not going to say anything because it's spoiler territory, but I like the transition of how they brought the Banished over from Halo Wars 2 with that opening cinematic with Atriox. That was awesome. Extremely impressive. Gave people who may have never touched Halo Wars 2 because it was an RTS or watched the cinematics, which everybody should go do, by the way. There's plenty of YouTube videos out there where they've got them all spliced together so you can just watch the cinematics, because you should go do that. It's unbelievable. But I liked how they started it. There's some different ways they can go with the story, so I'm going to be interested to see if they answer any of my questions that I have, again, as somebody who is not invested in the lore. But I loved how they set it all up. I loved how they kept it like an old school Halo feel with the very more intimate levels in the opening act, and then until you get to the open ring, right? I love that fact. I thought that played perfectly. And then you get in the open ring, and this is where it really flourishes. With the leaked, with the supposed information we've got from Schreier, and again, we'll never know full stories ever, right? That's just never going to happen unless somebody really high up writes a book. But from the information we got from Schreier, you can see its roots living here and what they kind of did to make the game work, to get it out at this point because of the problems they were having at that point. This game was originally intended as a one complete open world. I believe that. I believe that this game was originally intended as a multiplayer co-op experience. Now, some people disagree with me. Steele and I had a discussion about this morning in Living Split Screen, because he's still under the impression that this was not co-op. I think originally it was going to be. I think they were going that route. Not that the game would have been better than what we're getting now. It just would have been interesting to see how they would have fleshed that out. But I really, truly believe it, because that core gameplay that we're playing in this open world by ourselves, my God, to have 1 to 3 other Spartans with you, causing complete havoc on these bases, fighting mini bosses, all that good stuff, would be absolutely insane. That's all I can think about when I play this game. I'm having a blast as a single player. It's everything I want from a world like this. Like Fuzzy just touched on, all those people that were trying to say, well, it's just going to, it's going to be a Far Cry or it's going to be an Assassin's Creed. No, I mean, it's like that, but they balanced it so well. They didn't give you an overwhelmingly number of side things to do where you're just like, oh God, I got to go do this again. No, they've got them spaced out and so optional for you that you kind of make that choice yourself. If you want to go over there and save those Marines, you can. It's not necessary, but if that's in you to go do that, go do it. Right. So, but I would love to have seen the co-op be day one on this, because I think it would have been so impressive. Yes, they would have had to do something with the AI. Yes, they would have to beef up the enemies. I think that was all part of the original plans. You can see how big this world actually is, how much room there was for a lot more stuff to be happening at one time. But at the end of the day, we've got what we've got here. They did a marvelous job of taking what they had and giving us this final product here to play with, and how they broke up the ring, I think is ingenious. I wish they would let you, if you take the chance, because I actually got across to the other side. I found a way. I'm one of those people that tries to find a way with the grapple shot, and I found a way to get across to the other side where I'm not supposed to be, and it times you out and causes your death. I wish they would have allowed us to do that if we found a way to get it done, right? Like, there's only so many spots that you can actually do that in. But other than that, I love how they broke it up. I think it gives you bite-sized chunks. I love how they end each level, or so far. Again, I'm just to the tower, but I'm assuming this is how each level is going to kind of go. You got mini bosses in there. You've got these named bosses where you can find those kind of legendary weapons. But then you've got the big end spot that you got to get through to get to the next area. And I love how that's set up. I think that's something that Halo has been missing. The bosses and the mini bosses all fit right in with the whole environment of Halo. And so I think that's why so many people are saying, wow, yeah, this is, even people who never thought about it are like, yeah, this is something we could have had a long time ago. This just feels right. And I agree. And I think this was their, Bungie's original vision. And, again, for people who don't know, a lot of Bungie is at 343. So when we talk about them two being separate developers now, in reality, 343 still has so much Bungie DNA that some of those original people are still there. And then you throw in Joseph Staten on top of it, you've got the original vision happening right before our eyes here. And I think that's why this worked so well, because you have all of those people with a shared vision like this that went and got to create the world they had originally dreamed of, or at some point had said, God, I wish the tech was a little bit better so we could do more with this game. And now we're here. And so I think this is why it kind of all fits together. And it is the best Halo experience that I've had. Again, Halo ODST is my favorite Halo that I've played. But I got to say, Infinite, by the time it's all said and done, I can confidently say this will be my favorite Halo, unless something goes horribly sideways. But just from the way this plays right now, it's fantastic. The grapple shot and the traversal in this game feels so good, and it's believable, even with Chief being as big as he is with a heavy suit of armor. Everything just feels right when you're grapple shotting. It's such a different experience. Like, it's almost like to have that option. Like, you can grab vehicles, right? You can drive around vehicles, you can do whatever, but it's almost more fun to grapple shot everywhere. It really is. And to climb those mountains and to find a new way. And like both Asante and Fuzzy touched on, being able to get that high ground snipe. I'm a total cheat. I'm playing on heroic. I play all the Halo single players on heroic. I will save the legendary. I'm not that guy, so I just don't do legendary. However, this one, I am questioning whether or not I want to continue.
Once co-op comes back, I probably will try to do legendary.
Yeah, legendary, correct. Yeah, exactly. That's what I save legendary for in Halo games when I do play them on legendary is the co-op aspect. But I am questioning whether or not I want to continue on heroic. Because I am a grazer, because I'm not going to know life Halo, because it's just part of my rotation. I never become one with the game like that. So this one is very difficult. Now, I've heard some of the, Steel hardcore, right? He plays legendary single player. This man is on another level when it comes to gaming over me, right? He's ridiculous. He's saying this one feels easier than the old Halos on legendary. Okay. I'm saying they feel about the same on heroic as I experienced in the old Halos. He just said it's easier because the headshots count for more in this one than they did in the previous Halos. So from that aspect, I think that it's a good spot, and I think they did a great job with the AI. But I think that for me playing through this game, I don't know if I want to continue on this. We'll see how this tower boss goes, because I may just want to cut it down a notch and just enjoy it being a more powerful chief than a chief who's going to get his ass kicked at any moment. Right. That's kind of, that's kind of the way I feel right now. It's not bad. Like, I'm having a good time. It's just there's moments where I seem to get in a flow, and all it takes is, two shots from the Jackal sniper, and I'm dead. Right. I'm like,
deadly.
I'm like, man, where were you? Like, you can't even see him on the screen. I'm like, are you kidding me? I was just beating up all your buddies just fine. What are you doing? But from that standpoint, we'll see where this goes. But man, the writing in this game so far, story's fantastic, but the grunts in particular, man, are they more hilarious than they ever have been before. Their one-liners and their conversations they have before you attack are absolutely phenomenal. Like, I've been just sitting behind, I'll hide behind things and just listen to them talk to each other. And it's ridiculous how funny they are. And then when you attack, the one-liners, oh God, I'm just hats off to 343. They nailed this game. They nailed the Halo that some people always kind of dreamed of. And then, like you said, PTK, others made may have never known that they needed this type of Halo until now. So they've got it. They nailed this. Can't wait to see how they expand it. I can't wait to see co-op implemented, because I think it's really going to bring this to another level. But yeah, overall, just having a great time with it. Hats off to 343. It's fantastic.
Oh yeah, I think they've done such a phenomenal job, and I always want to harken back to this, and because my goal is always try and give the developer the credit that they deserve. So I always want to go back to that, especially with 343, because we were at a point, to where people were talking about this game being like taken away from. Not that it would actually happen, because I don't think it would actually happen. But people
if you
talking about. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, PTK, to that fact. I mean, if what Schreier is putting out there is true, and again, this is not the time to talk about it because it's time to celebrate Halo. But I'm just going to say this: if what Schreier, and again, we'll never know the full story, but let's just say he's good with his information, because he usually is. If that's part. If that part is true, and the turmoil that was going on internally to the point where they were scrapping basically the entire project and trying to figure out how they were going to move forward, all that criticism that we had on this show for them, about the management, about the leadership at 343, I think was fair. And I think internally, I'm sure they've had their review process going this entire time. And we saw changes at the top during the making of this game. So I don't, I just want to say this. I know a lot of people don't like to hear the criticisms, say, hey, just let them get the game out. I understand your feelings, and I understand that completely. And don't get me wrong, I'm not discrediting your opinion, but the criticism that we were giving them was fair. And if they did not bring back Joseph Staten, if they did not get this thing settled down, they did not do that delay last year and actually polish this thing up, it's possible that we would be talking about that right now as well. They were close. That was not, out of the realm of possibility. But again, now that it's here, you give them all the credit, give them all the kudos. Whoever had a hand in turning the ship around and bringing us this game, hey, you guys nailed it. And guess what? Whatever concerns there were back then, you still got to figure out the leadership position, if you're going to keep everybody the same, or if you can give State more power, or what you're going to do there. But at the end of the day, 343 showed that they can pull off a Halo that the majority of Halo fans love. Yes, there's a lot of talk out there, but look, they're already fixing the multiplayer as we speak. So the point of fact is that not there. Seeing 4 and 5, you would not have believed that they could get the entire Halo community, or the majority of the Halo community, to agree on something, but they've done it here with Halo Infinite. And that, to me, is a trophy that you carry around proudly, because it's something not every team could have done. They did it. So hats off to them.
Yeah, you're right. So kudos. So let's go ahead and throw this to you, Centurion. Get your opinion on this. Halo Infinite campaign dropped. Obviously, I'm sure you've dived into that a little bit. So where are you at on that?
Well, I have a lot to say. First off, we'll touch on what Pong said about the criticism. Yeah, there should have been some criticism. I was one of those that questioned the management over at 343. But not at any time did I say that they should have the game taken away. And in my personal opinion, I've always said keep Bungie, or what the Bungie of today, completely away from Halo. And I just also don't agree with how critical at least a lot of people are with game developers, because it just, like, I'm just going to be blunt. I can't even really go somewhere and get somebody to make French fries right. And for some reason, everybody and their grandmother expects game developers to be perfect, on the ball, basically no mistakes, no room for error. But you can walk into almost any business today, no matter where you go, and find somebody slipping on customer service, or just slipping on their job in general. But you won't hold yourself to that standard. But we can do that for game developers. But on to Halo. I really am enjoying what I'm playing. When I first saw that trailer come out showing what the campaign was going to be, I got some Far Cry vibes. I really did. And I was just coming off of playing Far Cry 6. Now that I'm in the game, and that moment that little outside door big outside door drops, and you walk out onto the ring and you see it open up and you see the blue skies, and oh my God, that was like an eye-opening experience for me. I really I feel like they're doing it better. It's really bad, in my opinion, now to really compare it to Far Cry, because Far Cry, it really did felt like there was some randomness towards the collectibles, the base capturing. It was just like, oh, this is the Far Cry formula, which there's nothing wrong with it. It's just there was some randomness to it. Yes, it's scaled down. I like the fact that it's just not an onslaught of collectibles and base capturing. Each has its own purpose. The concept of going around and rescuing stranded Marines, that was actually pretty cool. The fact that when you roll up on them, they're all pretty much like a lot of times being held hostage, and you have to rescue them. There's the high value targets. I don't want to say I called it, but I definitely got that feeling when I was watching the original campaign trailer for the reveal, that there was going to be high value targets, and that you were going to be getting something of importance for hunting these guys down. And that's going through and adding to your arsenal that you have at your disposal at certain bases, where you get to choose the vehicle you want to roll around on, what weapons you want to outfit yourself with. Totally, I'm enjoying the mechanic that they have created. I'm enjoying the I want RPG-esque style of incorporating the nodes into the suit to make your shield stronger, to add on to the grapple shot. I'm definitely excited about how this game is going to open up even more. I'm about ready to do the tower mission myself. I'm actually in the middle of doing the tower. But I also, like I was saying, it felt good to see that some of the base capturing had a purpose. I mean, when you go to like the first major base operation outside of collecting the FSB bases or whatever, like the where they would scrap the vehicles and they would turn them into other stuff. It felt like there was a purpose to it. It just wasn't, hey, this is a base and you got to just destroy these tanks and blah 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 and take it over. It felt like there was a reason for this base's existence. If everything feels like it's been thought out, the bases themselves, the whole open world-esque idea of the game feels very well thought out. Like it just wasn't, hey, this is just what we want you to do, this is the new style of the game. They kind of like led you into it, like you got alluded to earlier, was you had those linear corridors and the feeling of the old game until you get to where it opens up, and then it explains why you need to capture these bases and why it's this situation. And I've been having an absolute blast. Now, I play first-person shooters extremely different than a lot of people. I enjoy having pinpoint accuracy, and if you want me to be absolutely blunt, I have it on video because I do record myself when I play. I play a lot with the pistol. I am running around with the pistol, popping off headshots. I would have to agree, headshots do count for more in this game. That was completely shocking to me because, I mean, like, with some pretty good accuracy, you could take a brute down in about 3 or 4 shots if you can actually nail him.
On the gun you have.
Yeah. That pistol, dude, in my opinion, is really OP. I'm having a lot of fun with it. I find myself just running around, just popping dudes as much as I can with that thing. I haven't really experimented with too many of the plasma weapons. I'm just sticking to my main weapons that I just enjoy, and that's the battle rifle and the pistol. And just call me odd, but that's just the combination I kind of got used to playing with Halo, and it's the combination I'm sticking with. I'm just really wondering what this game has in store for me when it comes to after I get past the tower. Is it going to get even bigger? Is this going to become even more in depth? But that's where all the humbugs I've been hearing about, how the story abruptly ends or something like that. If that happens to be the case, I'm just going to point out that there is numerous entertainment trilogies. I was debating about this the other day with a friend of mine. Star Wars movies, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit. These movies use a tactic where it abruptly ends to get you to want to go and play. I mean, watch the next one, especially when they come out with the next expansion for this game, because they all talk about it's going to be a 10-year cycle for this game, hopefully. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be some DLC expansions to it, which has me totally hyped. So why should we fault a game developer for following a story technique that other entertainment-based avenues follow, and that is to create a climactic ending, like something that just makes you want to come back and know more when that piece of the story is ready. And that's where I'm at. I'm wanting to get to the point where I am ready for the next piece of the story, because at that point, I'm just going to continue having the multiplayer and the battle pass system to basically feed that energy of wanting to keep playing Halo until they expand upon the story that the first part of the story we're going to experience right now with what we have.
Awesome. So once again, everybody, this is also you guys' topic. So let us know how you guys feel about what we're talking about in the comment section. So shout out to everybody, man. Shout out to Zink. He just dropped in here. Ashtray, I saw you. Everybody in the chat, appreciate you guys. Love and support. Retweet the link. Let everybody know we are live. Shout out to Bunty. What's up, man? How you doing, brother? So let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. So this is a fun one. It was a big week. So not only did Halo Infinite drop, but the following day we had the Game Awards, and my, was it a show? So I think the overall opinion, it was a great show. I'm not gonna give it a number because I don't like doing a number thing because it never works out the right way. 7 is good, 6 is okay, like it never works out really. So I'm not gonna do a number, but I think it was a great show. And obviously we got some highlights. Everybody's highlights are different. I think the big highlight for me was Hellblade 2. We finally got to see essentially what Ninja Theory is working on, what they've been doing. And it turns out that it's fucking awesome. It turns out that it's amazing. That UE5 is that thing is truly next level. Shout out to that Matrix demo as well. If you haven't tried it, play it, download it. It's amazing. I haven't downloaded it. I'm gonna download it. But I for all intents and purposes, I've seen a ton of screenshots on Twitter. It's amazing. It looks amazing, but I'm going to actually get into that tonight. But we'll throw this over to you, Asante. So some highlights here out of the show for you. What do you think about you have any you just your overall opinion of the show? Where you at with it?
Yeah. I think the show was unusually good. I like, and not to say that most of the past years have not been good, but maybe we got too bogged down in the should there be awards, should there not be awards, this and that we forgot that it's all about those reveals. And man, did they have good reveals. They really did. They really did. I mean, and funny enough, for me, even the pre-show had something that was like exciting for me. The first thing I saw was Tunic is coming March 16th. I have been a Tunic stan for Lord knows how long.
Don't even get me started. I've been talking about Tunic for 2 years.
That's right. And they're finally bringing Tunic out. So that was like absolutely fantastic for me. And of course, as I was doing, as podcasters do, we took copious notes while we were doing it. So I have a full list here, but I'll run through some of it real quick. Planet of Lana looked amazing. I didn't know it's an Xbox exclusive, possibly one of those time things, but very cool, very painterly art style. Really brings you in, very indie aesthetic. I love that indie feel. So I was in it when I saw that. I was very, very surprised. Very beautiful game. I was very excited to see that. As you, of course, mentioned, Senua blew people's faces off as you would expect it would.
Oh, dude, Jesus,
absolutely
Christ.
Fantastic. Yeah. It was just, and the weird giant and the and like the whole situation was just uniquely odd and amazing and graphically intensive. And people were after the bar that they had set for themselves so many years ago, it was damn near impossible for them to meet and or exceed it. And it looks like they are definitely on that track to do so.
They jumped over that.
Yeah, definitely looks like they're definitely on that track. So that was super, super exciting for me. Of course, we saw Star Wars Eclipse, which, like, say what you will about Quantic Dream, they make the best looking games. And maybe it's because their resources go more into visuals than it does into gameplay. But if you want Star Wars looking righteous, oh boy, they're going to give it to you. And that trailer did not disappoint. it's in early development, so we probably won't see it for a while. But still, I was surprised to see that Quantic Dream. I'd heard about them getting a Star Wars IP. I'm there for it. I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see exactly where all of that goes. I will leave Alan Wake 2 for others to deal with, because I know probably Pong is going to lose his mind on Alan Wake 2. I enjoyed Alan Wake like for a long time, but I actually haven't gone back to it since the 360 days. So maybe this will be my reason to jump back in. He may or may not be listening to this, but I heard his brain explode from New York when Sonic was announced and showed off, Mr. Everborn Saga. His brain exploded all over the screen when that thing showed up because he's been itching for a AAA open world Sonic for God knows how long, and it looks like the gods were listening to him. So there was that. That was very exciting. I actually, I enjoyed the Horizon Forbidden West look. They are quick to keep showing you more footage, but every time I see it, I'm more impressed. I am there day one.
It's a beautiful game. It's a beautiful game.
I'm one of those few who when they did the Breath of the Wild versus Horizon thing, I played both, but I really liked Horizon. A lot of people just went, this is not Breath of the Wild when it came out. But this is bigger, badder. It seems to they've taken the best of the original and really blown it out. So I'm glad that it's coming out so soon. I'm looking forward to it, like sincerely. I will be there day one. I actually have the crazy mammoth box set thing pre-ordered on it, so I am so excited to play that. There's a whole I could keep going. There's just so many. Somerville, Evil West came out of nowhere and this just jumped right on top of my radar. That gameplay looked insane. For those who may not remember, it kind of has that Jonah Hex vibe. The protagonist is wearing that hat and he's looking like he's Jonah Hex from a Marvel series, if you're not aware. But so many very, very interesting Suicide Squad gave me that Sunset Overdrive vibe, totally Sunset Overdrive. Sure. There's just beyond, and if you notice, I'm strategically avoiding any of the awards because that's what they do. But as far as the reveals and whatnot, there was just so much to see. The Cuphead performance, in addition to the announcement of the DLC, I loved that performance. I'm a music guy, so that really spoke to me. Arc Raiders looked amazing. So many things. There's just so much that they showed. In my world, and I won't jump on this soapbox, but in my world, cut out all the awards and just show me all the reveals and call it Winter E3 or E3 like, and I'm still
that's
there.
Pretty much what it is. If you really think about it, if we're really thinking about it, and I'm sure somebody's going to do it on YouTube. I'm sure at some point you'll be able to find
just cut out all of them and just give us the reviews.
Just the trailers all spliced together. I'm sure somebody's going to do it at some point.
Yes. There's just so much. Crossfire X, just so much. Plague Tale Innocent, the Plague Tale Requiem, I should say. Yeah. Just so much, man. I could go down the list, bro. There's just too many of them. Too many of them. But I really enjoyed myself. I watched all 3 hours, even before the pre-show and all of that. I was there day one.
I think it was a good show, and I think the great so to see everybody there in person too was fun. That was a great aspect.
Cool,
I think
very cool.
Yeah, exactly. I think that kept people watching. Had it been just taped videos, I don't think it would have been as interesting. Having some people there, the energy in the room was good. Everybody really wanted to be there. You could tell everybody wanted to be there, so that was good. But the reveals, like you said, it's really becoming like a mini E3 because these are some big reveals. Wonder Woman, 100%. You didn't even talk about that.
I didn't even talk about Wonder Woman. See, there's just too much, man. I enjoyed Metal Hellsinger. I'm like I said, I'm a music guy, so it's basically a Doom game set to metal music, but it's got what do you call it, sequencer built in, so you're killing based on the timing of just crazy ideas, man. Ideas just blowing up everywhere, and that's a very indie focused kind of title. There's just so much to see at the show, and and I really enjoyed all of them. Like, you know, from the indies to the really top big crazy games. I have not been an Among Us person, but now that it's Among Us in VR, I'm there. Like, I am just there. I can just see that becoming really big, you know, because I play VR a lot. I really enjoy the VR stuff, and you know, there's just so much. There's so much we can dig through the details, but man, 2022 is going to be insane with all the stuff that's coming at us left and right, you know, and by and large, they're all on that Unreal Engine 5, and they're pushing their own engines very fast, you know. So and I will second that the notion that you said about the Matrix experience. Anyone that knows me knows that I put the Matrix above all other franchises, and that's how me and Everborn connect. We are Matrix stands. So even though we're not going to do a show anymore throughout the year, when the Matrix comes out, we will do a special show just for the Matrix. We love it that much. This trailer, the demo, wow, that's all I could. It is just amazing. I actually need to go through that level again. I've played it a couple times, and it shows you the beyond the Unreal Engine 5, showing you all the potential and where it can and will go. You know, they've done black hair right. Shout out to those who know what I'm talking about, because black hair has been a problem for too damn long, and they finally figured it out with Unreal 5. But I'm pretty sure there are Easter eggs and hidden secrets in the city, because they're little like hints they give you as you're walking around reading signs and stuff. So I'm gonna start pouring into that city and just kind of dig through. You know, I'm very excited for that thing, and that tells me that a game is coming. A game is coming, 100%. And if it's not coming, who's dropping the ball? Somebody needs to get smacked to pick up that ball, because the game should be coming. It should have been here day one with the movie, but we'll excuse that. A game should be coming. You know,
awesome. And you didn't even mention we had the Halo TV show trailer as well.
Yes, that is. See, and I seem to be within my core circle. I seem to be the only one still on that square. I think that will look great, and that will be great. You know, people are still giving it the side eye. I saw a lot of budget on the screen there, which I appreciated.
Oh yeah,
you know, because most of the time I love the Forward Unto Dawn. I love all of them. I am there for Halo. I am the Halo stan. They have me in the bag. I read all the books. I'm there. But I can agree that even the good ones that have been good up until now have been good at a very low, judging it at a very low scale, because they don't really put the money on the screen like that. This time, it looks like they very much did that, right? They, the CG, the people were complaining about the CG city and whatnot. You know, we'll see how that goes. But by and large, it looks like they're really putting it out there. Some of the actors and actresses I saw, I was very impressed by. There's some real Hollywood veterans on there, you know, doing real good work. So I'm cautiously optimistic on that one, for real.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of people are too. So, and it's funny because I told myself I'm not doing this game attack with these damn subscription services. I love them, but I'm not doing this game attack. Shout out to Bacon. What's up, Bacon? He just popped in here. Shout out to everybody in chat. J Money, appreciate you guys all, man. Once again, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the like button. Appreciate you guys' support. But let's keep this thing moving, man. Let's get this over to you, Pong. Get this over to you. The VGAs have come and gone. Now, I actually was in chat. I don't know if I think you saw me. I think you shouted me out.
Yeah,
I was in chat a majority of the time. I was on my way home, listening to you guys on the way home. And then when I got home, I left you guys on. So I pretty much watched the show with you guys for the most part. So, what I mean, overall, where you at? Mini VGA? I mean, mini E3?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I stated in the beginning.
You did. Yeah,
that's what it's turning into now. Whether we can have a discussion whether or not that's a good thing, since he's still calling it an award show. If you're going to call it an award show, again, whether the awards are important to me or most of your audience or not, your basis is that you're trying to give these developers in these games their limelight, their time to shine, and do something good. And obviously, we don't get to see the faces all the time behind these games, right? It's not something that's normal. And if you're going to promote a show and say that you're going to try to push that forward and that's going to be your emphasis, then do that. Whereas it seems every year, Jeff is doing less and less of that, which, again, for me, selfishly, is great because, like Kayasate said, and everybody knows, most of us are there just to look for the new games, right? All the reviews and everything, right? That's what this is turning into. It's an E3. But at the end of the day, you're still an award show. So I do have some issues with that. That's why I've said I think there is room for another show besides his to move into this space. The gaming industry is now big enough that we can have multiple award shows. We have multiple awards, but not like a showcase, right? We have got the BAFTAs and that kind of stuff, but it's not really a big to do. You've got room to do another one, say sometime like the end of February, beginning of March, and count the entire year, but really put the focus on the awards and on the people behind the games. And yes, still have some, reveals and that kind of stuff, but really go back to the roots of it and put on something a little bit more specific. However, again, for what it was, love the award show. Jeff did a great job this year. Again, the people out there complaining, that's why I like coming on shows with people like you guys and Kay Asante and stuff, because sometimes I feel like I'm different because I saw a lot of complaining out there and a lot of people saying that it was a worthless show. I'm like, excuse me? How can you watch this show and with there was probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 70 games showing, and a lot of them new. I have 11 that I didn't even know were coming out that are now on my list. Right? I counted. I have 11 that I was not aware of before the show. How can you sit back and say this show was not good? Right? I understand the middle wasn't the greatest. He front loaded the show. We got some advertising, a lot of advertising in the middle, but overall pacing wise, it was well done. He had his Hollywood fluff in there. He had his, flexes that he likes to do, which is fine. But he kept them to a minimum and he spaced them out enough where it didn't feel like we were bogging down too much, right? Yes, some of the advertising, I get it. Did we need to see Rocket League there? No, probably not. Could the show have been trimmed another 30 minutes? Yes, I think the show could have been trimmed 30 minutes. But at the end of the day, they gave us as gamers exactly what we asked for. We got so much good stuff out of this. Kay Asante just read off a ton, and there's a ton more to talk about. So I think the show was great. I gave it an 8.5 to an 8.8. Now that I've sat on it, I stand at my 8.5. And I think, again, I judge every show in a vacuum. I don't compare it to anything else, but I thought this was great. I thought Jeff just really knocked it out of the park. I was afraid we were going to get more fluff because he hasn't had a chance to have a live audience for a while. So I thought he was going to kind of go back to that again, but he knocked it out of the park. Him and his team are excellent at what they do. I give him credit for pushing the industry forward into the limelight. So it was fantastic. Loved the show. What I came away from it, again, a lot of what Kay Asante just said. And like I said, I love doing these shows with you guys because you guys have the excitement for what we saw there, not trying to say, oh, there wasn't much there, or oh, I didn't get to see a bunch of AAA stuff, or whatever the case may be. There was so much good stuff there. So obviously Hellblade 2, ridiculous, out of the park. We all thought what we knew, or we all think in our heads what we're going to see in the generation ahead, right? We always think when the new generation hits, we're now in that generation. What are we going to see? We saw a glimpse with Stalker 2 because that's Unreal 5. Then Ninja Theory comes along and absolutely drops our jaws with Hellblade 2. Okay. Woo. Look, and this is the beginning. Unreal Engine 5 has only been out for a year or less. This is the infancy of that engine. This is the infancy of this current gen. What are we going to see 8 years from now? Because if we're getting this type of stuff out of Hellblade 2 now, I can't imagine, because as we know, go back and look at every generation, how it starts and how it ends and how the games evolve. And this leap in tech right now, and this leap in the industry in particular, is a big one. And I cannot wait, because Hellblade 2 absolutely floored me. I knew it was gameplay. I listened to Jeff. I didn't miss what Jeff was saying. He kept repeating, this is gameplay. I can't believe it myself that this is not CGI. And he kept repeating it. And I love the excitement in his voice. And then when it showed up, I still was like to myself, I'm like, really? Are we sure this is gameplay? Are we sure this isn't CGI? And then obviously you could see the transition between the cinematic camera and the player camera. You could see that transition, but it was so flawless. I was absolutely floored. The Giant, fantastic. Ninja Theory, has set the new bar for everybody. In Exile came out with a tweet during the show basically saying, really, Ninja Theory? Because they're using Unreal Engine 5 too. Now, even the internal teams at Xbox are going to be looking up at Ninja Theory, trying to show their game off after Ninja Theory just showed this, right? It's going to be like, wow. So again, blew me away. I cannot wait to get my hands on it. Ninja Theory, take as long as you need. We're probably 2 years away at least from this game. I think even spring of 2024, possibly. Take it. I don't need to see another thing from you guys until you're ready. Okay. You've proven to me you've got it. Go run with it. Okay. Because game is going to be special when it comes out. So I cannot wait for that. Star Wars from Quantic Dream. Always looking for good Star Wars games. Quantic Dream is masters at doing a narrative-driven game. I can't wait to see what they do with this. I still have some concerns because it is based on the High Republic. I'm not happy with the direction that Star Wars is currently going in under Disney. I've read some of the lore behind the High Republic. It doesn't impress me. However, what I saw through that trailer really gave me some of those good Star Wars vibes. Like, they had a lot of scenes there where I was like, okay, this is the spirit of Star Wars that's been missing, right? The scene with Yoda, looking out over the city from the Jedi Council room, that kind of stuff. If anybody can do it in a narrative heavy game, it's going to be Quantic Dream. So I'm looking forward to that one for sure. What else? Oh, I gotta mention this. Shout out to Bethesda and their marketing team, who are geniuses over there. That Bethesda commercial was absolutely hilarious.
Oh, dude, that's hilarious.
With Uncle Pete Hines.
Pete Hines.
Dude, Pete Hines is a natural. That dude is freaking awesome. And then they're giving away all those codes, and then they're basically saying, "Hey, we're hiring. Send us your applications." Like, it was awesome. I just love that commercial shot in the old 80s style, camcorder VCR days. Look, that was simply fantastic. Shout out those guys. I absolutely love that. Alan Wake 2, you brought it up, Asante. Yes, I was super hyped to see Alan Wake 2. However, it turned to bittersweetness when Sam Lake said that they're going to lean into the horror aspect. Because when everybody who knows me knows I don't do horror, okay? I can do psychological, and I can do horror if you give me big guns to shoot everything, okay? but I'm afraid they might, the way he said it and he was emphasizing it, it might put it out of my realm.
A little too Resident Evil for you?
A little. It could go to Resident Evil 7. Now, I can do 8. I could do 8. I played the demo of 8 and got through it, and I said, I'll eventually play this. However, 7, no way. I made it literally, I think, 12 minutes when the girl
I played that in VR. Never do that.
Yeah,
Never
no. So I'm just afraid it's going too far that way for me, but we'll wait and see, because, again, I was hyped, but I'm happy for everybody, because there's a lot of people who love horror, and there's a lot of people who want to see Alan Wake go that direction. So good on them. Again, I'm okay with a game going a different direction that's not for me. And The Last of Us 2 did the same thing, and I'm okay with it. I'm okay with having my favorite game being Alan Wake 1. That's okay. I love that game. And if I never got a 2 because I can't play it, oh well, I'm glad other people are happy for it. So it was great to see. And it was always good to see Sam Lake up there. And I'm just happy Microsoft sold them the rights back so they could do this. That's big in this day and age. So glad that was announced. Wonder Woman. Look, anybody who's listened to me on the show or any other show knows that I'm not a big superhero guy anymore. I'm burnt out on superheroes. I don't do the MCU. I don't play superhero games. I'm just really burnt out on the whole genre. However, Wonder Woman is one of my favorite characters from DC Universe. And this game coming from Monolith, who did the Lord of the Rings.
Nemesis system,
baby. I brought it up. You heard me bring it up right after they showed it. Me and Mav discussed it. Look, if they use the Nemesis system, that could be extremely special, right? That could be something, wow, right? I can't wait to see what Monolith does. This game actually has me excited, which I haven't been for a superhero game in a long time. So that's really cool. And it was great to have that come out. Horizon Forbidden West looks better and better each time they show it. I don't care how many times they show it. It's a great looking game. And I love what they're doing over there as well. Let me see what else I got on here. Look, there was a bunch of PC stuff that I hope comes to consoles. Inflection Games, that Nightingale game looked incredible. That was the one with all the characters that kind of looked like they came from like a probably like the 1800s, say, but they were traveling through those gates, and they would when they travel through a gate, they'd wind up in a different fairy tale land, and they were fighting different fairy tale monsters. Looked absolutely awesome. It looks like an MMO style game, building game, survival kind of game. PC, obviously. I just hope some of this stuff comes to console this gen, because we're missing out over here. That looked awesome. Sonic Frontiers. So happy for Sega. I want them to nail this. Look, I know Everborn is king of Sega fanboys around here, but look, I'm an old school Sega fan. Dreamcast is my favorite. Been missing a good Sonic game for a very long time, and for them to come out and say they're doing an open zone Sonic, oh my God, speaking to my heart. And when they showed it off and they showed that, you know, you're going to have these gigantic kind of monsters, bosses, whatever you want to call them, at the end of each of these zones, dude, I can't wait.
Be special.
I can't. I'm praying for Sega, because it's going to come out right around the same time as the movie. They're hitting it all. The movie looked great. The movie trailer, Sonic 2, just looked out of this world with Tails and Knuckles being introduced. So I just hope for Sega that they nail it with this Sonic, because it would be so amazing that this is the gen. When I say this is the golden age of gaming, we see all these games from our past coming back to life again, to have Sonic return on top with a great game, have a great movie out at the same time. Man, reliving the glory days again. I can't wait for that. I really want to see what they've got down there. What else we got here? We got, look, out of the blue, talking about going back and pulling back some classic games, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, nobody thought this game was going to get a sequel. Nobody. We haven't seen it since the 360. Space Marine 2, Warhammer, announced by Saber Interactive. This is a cult classic. Such a cult classic. In fact, after they announced that, I went on and picked up the 360. I just ordered the 360 tonight, the 360 version, to get it again. That game looks absolutely ridiculously good. Saber knows what they are doing. I love the Warhammer universe, so to get a Space Marine 2 announced blew me out of the water. My God, I can't wait for that one. Suicide Squad looked ridiculously good. Another superhero game that I wasn't interested in. Then I saw the gameplay. I saw how different each one of those characters moves and attacks. I'm all in on Suicide Squad. Of course, Rocksteady, man, they are so good at what they do. Can't wait for Suicide Squad. What else was in there? Tiny Tina's Wonderland. Anybody on the fence? Mav was sold instantaneously once he saw this trailer. Go back and watch the latest Tiny Tina Wonderlands. If you're on the fence with Borderlands, go back and watch this. This game is day one for me. This last trailer was fantastic. It even worked on Steel, and Steel isn't a Borderlands guy, and he even said he's in on this now. So go check that out. They had a great showing. Steel Rising from Spiders. AA studio, one of my favorite AA RPG studios. They have big ideas. They want to be, they want to be Obsidian. They want to be Bethesda. They just don't have the backing to do it, but they make such great games. Yes, they got a little jank to them. That's what you get with AA, but they make great RPGs. Steel Rising is coming from them. We saw it early. I think it was beginning of this year, maybe the end of last year. They showed it off again. Steel Rising by Spiders looked absolutely ridiculously good. Can't wait for that one. We finally got a date on Crossfire X, February 10th, for the single player campaign. Oh my God, that's looking even better. Love that trailer there. Of course, Plague's Tale Requiem. My God, Asobo. Wow. That's what you want to see out of a sequel. Them getting better and better and better. And the different environments with the color and the flowers and all that kind of stuff looks so freaking good. I cannot wait to get my hands on that one as well. And then, of course, the Star Trek game. Man, I'm a Star Trek fan, right? Telltale broke up. Telltale's kind of back together, but one of the original founders created his own studio. He's doing Telltale games. He's doing a Star Trek game. They got Spock in it. I'm buying it. Okay, period. Point blank. I can't wait to play that game. Yeah.
You remind me of something that we totally didn't bring up.
What?
actual Telltale came out and brought
Yes.
The Expanse.
Yeah, The Expanse.
What a
Just-
concept.
What a concept. Huge fan base for The Expanse. I watched the first 2 seasons. Fantastic sci-fi. I got to get back into it. I just don't watch a lot of TV anymore, but that looked great. You're right, Asante. That looked great as well. Embark, as Asante said, Arc Raiders, free to play.
That looks amazing.
It's free to play, so yes, it's going to have monetization. We know this. It is what it is. I don't care. I can't wait for this. These are from this studio. For people who still don't know, Embark is over in Sweden, but they are made up of a lot of the original DICE devs. The people that brought us the best Battlefields are working on this game, and you can tell this is not a new studio with new talent. Okay, this is a new studio with old talent that's been doing this development work at a high level for a very long time, and you can see it. That game is looking fantastic. Cannot wait. And then of course they ended it with Matrix Awakens, and yes, I will double, quadruple down. Anybody who has a Series console, anybody who has a PlayStation 5, this is not available anywhere else. PC doesn't have this. Go download this demo. Matrix Awakens is another look at what we can come to expect in the future. Absolutely mind-blowing. I saw some people trying to say, oh, it wasn't that mind-blowing. If you don't tell me that when Keanu Reeves first shows up on that screen, you think you're not looking at the real Keanu Reeves, I question what you're actually watching, because that Keanu Reeves, until he starts moving, again, walking and that kind of stuff, you can tell. But that Keanu Reeves that first shows up on close-up of his face looks like Keanu Reeves. That entire city is unbelievable. I thought we were just going to get that little play section where you get to play through it, kind of. And then all of a sudden they throw you into the city and you can walk around, you can jump into cars, you can fly up in the air, and you can travel anywhere in that city that you want to. I was like, what? Are you kidding me? This is crazy. And then some of the screenshots, they passed the squint test. Some of them don't even.
Spider-Man in that city.
Man, imagine anything in that. Imagine Grand Theft Auto in that city.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Oh, that's crazy.
Anything. But they passed, some of the screenshots passed the squint test, and some of them don't. You don't even need to squint, and you would swear that it was a real city, right?
Oh,
if
yeah,
you take the
100%.
screenshot right, if you go into photo mode and you fool around with it, that lighting and everything, and then to be able to get down to the developer level and see the nanite technology at work and all that kind of stuff, which I don't understand 1/10 of it, but at the same time, I understand enough of the basics. But to be able to see that on screen and that they give us a look behind the curtain to see what's going on as a gamer, man, shout out to Epic. A fantastic time to drop it. What a great companion, kind of, a marketing tool as well to mix in with the Matrix releasing this year to drop something like this. And like Asante said, we need a new Matrix game, period, point blank. Should have been one ready this year to come out with the movie, but it is what it is. But man, after playing this and seeing all that, give us a Matrix movie, or give us a Matrix game, please, period. But yeah, no, great overall show. Loved it. Got my hype even more for the coming years. Most of this stuff is actually coming in the next couple of years, right? So most of the stuff that we saw is coming. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable what we are getting. Golden age of game, people. Enjoy it.
All right, man, let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Fuzz. Where you at on the show, man? It was a great show. I think it was just overall a solid show. We've already gone over so much.
Yeah.
There's really a lot to digest, and I actually had to go back and watch a couple trailers and kind of rewatch a little bit of the show to kind of get a fresh mind. There was so much content there, but
Yeah, and go back and watch everything in 4K, please.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
Please. Makes a total difference.
Yeah. So where you at on this, Fuzz, as far as presentation and what was shown and expectation?
Well, there's a couple of quick things I want to put out there first. I'm actually shocked that Psychonauts 2 didn't get any awards.
Yes.
I just want to put that out there first.
Oh yeah, that
That was nice.
I'm glad that Deathloop got something. I'm glad Returnal got something. I thought Ratchet and Clank got something, but I guess there are some that are saying that they got snubbed as well. So the two out of the big three platformers got snubbed. But It Takes Two, well deserved. I definitely need to hop on that one. But all of that aside, the awards pacing, yes, it was a long show. I felt it wasn't bad, but it definitely seems like Pong was saying earlier, they could have knocked off a half hour or so, or maybe even more off of it. I mean, I almost wanted to joke around and say, this show is sponsored by Verizon 5G because they did that way too much. I mean, cool. They
You
had
gotta
some
pay the
celebrities
bills.
and stuff there, and yes, you have to pay the bills. It also seemed like everything was kind of paid for also by Amazon, but come on, just just that. I think it would have went off better for Verizon at least if they just had like a logo in the corner. That I think that would have probably been smoother. But all of that aside, into the trailers and announcements and things along those lines. Hellblade 2 definitely caught my attention. Highlight of the show, I would say the only thing that and it's not that it I guess it was more of like the expectation aspect than anything. I was hoping for maybe Compulsion's game to be kind of shown, or maybe a new IP from PlayStation's first party possibly shown, but not heartbroken that it wasn't, but was hoping, no biggie that it wasn't. Overall, I think everything was a good paced showing. I can kind of understand why they front loaded it as far as showing like Hellblade and new footage of Horizon Forbidden West, because I guess they already knew it was going to be a 3-hour show. We want to make sure we get these people to see this beforehand. So Microsoft and PlayStation probably like, yeah, put this within the first half hour or we pull it type of thing. But yeah, was it Arc Raiders? Awesome. Definitely interested. The free to play aspect, but what they showed, I think that'll be fine. I'm not going to worry about the cosmetics and stuff. Although knowing me, they'll come out with some sort of cosmetics for it that will eat up $5 or $10 somewhere. But overall, the gameplay, it has that almost like Division in space kind of appeal as far as what I like about it, or like Lost Planet kind of mixed in there as well. But
I saw that too. I my first thought was Lost Planet.
But I definitely like what I saw as far as that game, and for new studio, their first title, that looks like it's going to be a good one. Me being an old PC guy from way back when PCs and Dell first kind of started, it was cool to see Homeworld 3. Unfortunately, not on console, but then again, you can create thousands of spaceships, so I can kind of understand why even the next gen consoles might not be up for that. But it was cool to see that there's going to be a 3. What else really kind of caught my attention on stuff? Oh, seeing more of Somerville. Would have liked to have had a date. Understand it's 2022, but would kind of like to know where it falls in the calendar, kind of thing. But I'm glad that's still on the upcoming list. Glad to see a date for Tunic, as well as for Crossfire X. Yeah, shame they didn't make 2021, but we already had so much to play for 2021 that's fine. They
Yeah,
slip into
February's
2020.
dead.
Yeah, they
Nah.
slip into 2022. They'll 2022 is already packed as is.
Oh, dude, it's
But
February's off the
max.
charts.
it's definitely nice to see where they landed. Yeah, it's got a lot of other big titles around about that same time, but I'll make time. Even if it's just that I dedicate 1 week to one of them and then another week to another game, so be it. But man, 2022 is going to be stacked. What else, man? I think overall the fact that it was in person was kind of cool. I'm hoping E3 is in person, so knock on wood, I might make a trip out there. Gotta see if I can get the fan fest tickets and stuff. But all that aside, I was quite surprised considering, like, I know we heard some buzzing and rumors that Hellblade 2 was going to be shown uh, again, but I was kind of like, I don't really want to see a trailer of it if it's not going to be out for a while, considering they just finished up the studio less than 6 months ago as far as their new spot or their new location and everything. So I wasn't really expecting a lot, but they showed, I mean, that's 6 minutes of, yes, gameplay, like Keely said, and you can kind of see that it's not even a hiccup or a hitch, but it was seamless transition. But you can tell, okay, there's somebody controlling that run.
Yeah.
There's somebody controlling that spear throw and stuff like that. And can we have a moment of silence for that giant? Because man, that it just looked like they
He
were
was
just picking
down
that
bad.
dude.
That boy was
But
down. He was just trying to get a
no,
rest.
but it just the visuals as far as seeing the fire and the reflection and the I guess it's the like the way the smoke changes color based on the flames in the background and the dude on fire running out of the smoke, and just all the graphical details in that as far as like with Unreal Engine 5. And yes, this is the early days of Unreal Engine 5, and I can only imagine what it's going to look like later on. But man, it was definitely a sight to see. We saw some nice visuals with Stalker 2, Hellblade 2. It definitely gave us a sight to see. And hey, Unreal Engine 5 is I think probably convincing a lot of people they probably need to get these next gen consoles now. That demo for Matrix Reloaded, yeah, it's yeah, you can't do a lot in as far as interaction, but the just the visual aspect, like if that's what they're able to do in Unreal Engine 5, that sets the bar for like any Watch Dogs and Grand Theft Autos of the future. They're going to have to kind of take a look at that and just make it more interactive, where you'll be able to do more things in the environment, but just visually, just the smoothness of it, and the level of detail and whatnot. It's man, that it makes these consoles seem like it's definitely a worthwhile investment. I mean, man, it that was cool to kind of play around with, upload a little clip of smashing into stuff, and I like what I saw out of that. But overall, the award show, great. A little disappointed that Psychonauts didn't get anything. Glad to
Yeah.
see Forza got some things to take home. Glad to see Returnal got to take some things home, and definitely glad to see definitely take some things home. Although I was hoping the main voice for Colt would have taken something home, but I understand why Lady Dimitrescu won won that one. But all things aside, that it was a pretty good show. I'm liking the second E3 ish aspect of it in a way, because you get the middle of the year stuff to see the holiday, what might be coming up for the holiday, and the early part of next year, and then the awards is kind of like the year beyond type of thing. Like a lot of things are showing that, with the exception of like a couple of like shadow drops, like was it GTFO was released.
Yeah, that was
There was some
released the
more of
same
the
day.
Nobody Saves the World shown again, with the demo being out and the ID at Xbox deal. But yeah, it was an overall good show. Long, but still a good show.
No, I agree. I think overall, like I said, I didn't rate it or give it a number, but it was a solid show. And like you said, it's really becoming a mini E3 at this particular point in time. He's doing a real good job with the reveals and getting companies to be okay with like presenting their games there, or like dropping their games, revealing games there. So I think that's only going to get better and better as time goes by. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Centurion, before we move on to the last topic. So where you at one of VGAs, brother?
Oh man, where can I start? Definitely in agreement with the guys here on the whole winter E3. We got the summer of games, the mid-year mayhem of gaming, and then obviously great way to cap it off with another little mini E3. Something I enjoyed what Jeff Keighley actually did this year. I mean, to be absolutely blunt and honest, I actually completely loved how Jeff Keighley, right out the gate, right off the rip, the speech he made at the beginning of the show, just tackling some serious subjects right in itself. That actually kind of struck a tone for me with Jeff Keighley, and he's got a lot more respect in my eyes for doing that. But on to the actual gaming side of things, I mean, like, where can we start? We've all mentioned what's going on with the Matrix game. I mean, I was a huge fan of Enter the Matrix back when it was on the GameCube and the PS2. I really loved how they integrated it into the trilogy movies, and kind of itself was a standalone story, and I really feel that it was very unique to gaming, and I feel they need to really recapture that. So our guest here kind of hit the nail on the head. There better be a game already in the works. If not, what the heck is going on? Because I mean, that was actually an iconic piece of gaming outside of, it being an iconic set of movies, but just the Matrix game itself was amazing. When I saw, what'd you say? I'm sorry.
No. I'm agreeing with you 100%. Yeah. They had 8 hours of additional footage of the Matrix movie in that game. It was very unique.
And it's also the setup for the beginning of the second movie, because in the second movie, they're exchanging all this information on the machines burrowing down, and the game set that up. So I feel like it's a fundamental part of the story, in my opinion, to get the full experience of what the Wachowski brothers were trying to create. Onto the Game Awards and the reveals outside of that. I mean, like, let's talk about like Star Wars Eclipse. I mean, I'm glad to see that they're going back to the old Republic, or when the Jedi Order was at its that infamous moment where the Jedis were pretty much at their highest point before all the incidents in Episode 3 kind of broke them down. And we all see Quantic Dream is doing that again. To kind of touch on this, if anybody's in a believance thinking that because Quantic Dream is involved because of what they've done for PlayStation, I've got some bad news. Back in 2019, they came out and said that they are shifting their resources and what they do in production to doing multi-plat games. They are no longer going to be locked down on one single platform. So regretfully, by that speech alone, it is not going to be a PlayStation exclusive, if anybody's kind of wanting to think that. But then also, you guys touched on Alan Wake. There was other ones that weren't exact. I never did play Alan Wake. I really should go back and experience that. Maybe I'm in the bushes with it, but I tried playing it a little bit back in the day. Now for me, I really enjoyed what the Suicide Squad, and having the leader of the Suicide Squad come out and actually screw with Jeff Keighley on stage. That was actually pretty funny for me. Let's see. Everybody keeps talking about Hellblade 2. I still have yet to experience Hellblade. I've really been enjoying what I'm seeing of the games. The first game tackled the idea of mental issues and the idea of schizophrenia and stuff like that. We're already seeing hints of what some of the psychological issues, what we're going to have going on in Hellblade 2, on just the mental stress that is involved in essentially leading a group of people and potentially leading some of these people to their death. I mean, that's a huge amount of responsibility for anybody to shoulder. And, we see soldiers to this day that come back from actual real life military situations that have had some pretty stressful things happen due to having to lead people into some very stressful situations. I'm excited for Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders totally piqued my interest from just watching the gameplay. I heard somebody mention Lost Planet. Totally in agreement with that. A lot of people don't realize Arc Raiders is got some involvement with ex-DICE devs from obviously Battlefield and Battlefront. In my opinion, I hope that some of these old devs from DICE that have got some very good pedigree of creating games of this style that we're probably going to be in for a very, very unique experience. I really wish Nightingale was not just PC only. I am now twisting the words. Twisting what I've said in the past, where I probably would never game on PC. And for the first time ever, I want to try a game on PC. And that's that I believe it's Nightingale. Am I getting the name wrong, Pong?
Nope, you are correct, sir.
Yeah,
Nightingale.
I mean, dude, that game, forgive me, I'm a sucker for anything that looks like a Stargate, and I saw something that looked like a Stargate at first, and the ability to go to these different realms and the worlds that are created by them. I'm really intrigued by what they're trying to create. We're seeing the resurgence of Telltale games. I mean, with the Expanse game, really wanting to check that out. Forgive me, I'm a sci-fi nerd. I was guessing it was the Expanse when I was starting to watch the beginning of the trailer. Excited for that. Also great to see that some of the Telltale veteran developers have gone off and started their own thing, and we're getting Star Trek Resurgence, another game that I'm probably going to want to check out. And yeah, once again, Pong even touched on it. Spock is there. It's awesome to see that we're going to be carrying on the legacy of Leonard Nimoy through Spock, and we're going to have him now in video game form. let's see, what else is there? I took on so many notes. Oh, there was one of the notes I wrote down for you, PTK. You were talking about Crossfire X. It's actually great to see that this game is now going to start coming out in February. I'm totally intrigued in what they've been cooking up for us on that one. But yeah, I mean, it was actually a very, very decent show, in my opinion. I was excited for most of the stuff I saw. One criticism I am having, the Lord of the Rings Gollum game, I'm not too sure what tone this is going to set. I'm not exactly kind of digging what I'm seeing. I'm hoping that.
Did you notice they changed the style, Centurion?
Oh yeah,
They
definitely.
changed the art style. Both Mav and I were like, "What?"
Yeah, he looks like a Disney Infinite character.
Yes. They messed with him. Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm
Sorry,
glad
Centurion.
No, you're fine. I'm glad that it wasn't just me that was thinking that.
No, they changed the entire thing.
Yeah, like I'm used to what Gollum that looked like from Shadows of Mordor, and the way they did Gollum. I definitely Disney Infinite character hits it right on the head. It feels like they're trying to make Gollum a more friendlier character almost, but that's where I don't know how that's going to really work out, because I mean Gollum is actually a very sinister individual. Because that's where, Gollum is a sadistic person. Gollum and Smeagol are two different people, and Gollum would literally kill everybody in the room, and Smeagol is sometimes just trapped along for the ride. So I'm really curious on how that's going to work for them in the long run, on the direction that they're trying to take it. But definitely this award show was definitely a very it hit the nail on the head for me, at least. There's another note I made, the Metal Hellsinger game. That one looks intriguing. I mean, anything that's Doom-esque and the ability to actually kind of like the music almost changes with what's going on. Then we also have, what was the other one? Oh yeah, Evil West. That game, I don't know why, but lately I've been wanting to actually just have a decent Western style game since Red Dead Redemption 2 come out. And I guess this Evil West game is going to be the closest I'm going to get for a little while, but it's nice that they're throwing some sci-fi in there.
That's not really close. It's more Van Helsing than anything else.
Oh, dude, but Van Helsing was...
Yes.
Van Helsing is definitely a gem. Man, I wish they would touch on that character more in gaming, and I'm not talking the top-down, like, dungeon crawler that they had. I would love for Van Helsing just to have his own game, but that's another argument. But, dude, like, I mean, I could go on all day long about what was really shown. Jeff Keighley, I definitely have had a lot of criticisms for him in the past. I'm not going to try to backtrack. I mean, there's always room for improvement. Jeff Keighley does do things sometimes that I don't agree with, and sometimes he does get a little loose with the information. I still don't really know how to feel about how some of the things he's leaked in the past just to get clout online. But it was nice to see Jeff is really making an attempt to really grow his brand. He's really trying to get some recognition. He definitely had a good crowd out there of named individuals in gaming and entertainment. And it's also nice to see him have a sense of humor. I know we had the creepy little pot thing on wheels that came out on stage and handed him a letter for Elden Ring. That was actually kind of funny for me. It's good to see he has a sense of humor. But I guess the one thing that's I really did not like just the constant cuts for us to just like, hey, quit watching where you're watching right now and go watch over on this guy's Twitch channel. That was one thing that kind of just, I wish they would have got rid of. I understand that there's definitely some payment from, like, somebody mentioned Amazon. I really just don't like the idea of just, it's like repetitive. I mean, it's like almost getting a phone call from the same, like, if you ever tried to go out and get insurance and all of a sudden your phone blows up for the next 3 or 4 weeks from people trying to provide you insurance, it almost felt like that, where it was just repetitive, where they were trying to get you to go watch on Twitch when I was just fine watching on YouTube. And definitely, I mean, there was some things and some tweaks, but I feel the show in itself was at least a success for me.
Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the last topic. So we're all going to go over this quickly. We're going to rapid fire this bad boy. But shout out to everybody watching live. Appreciate everybody. Shout out to you, Rain, Zinc in the chat as well. Always hanging out, man. But we're just going to talk about what we're looking for next year. So it's Asante. So I mean, it's a lot coming, and we talked about this a few months ago. Like 2022 is probably going to be better than this year.
Yes. I completely agree with that.
I'm like 90, I'm like 85-15 on this. Like just with the lineup itself, as far
all
as
the games that were
dropping,
delayed in 2020, 2021 will come to
2021
2022.
Or
So
come in 2022.
Yeah.
And obviously I think still there may be some that get pushed out. Inevitably, there may be a couple that get pushed a little further into next year. But for what it's looking like as of right now, what are you looking forward to next year, man? Give us like one thing that you're like, I'm all on board next year for this. This is going to make my year.
So I'll hedge my bet and give you two, because technically 2021 isn't done yet, and the gunk is coming, people. The gunk is coming. Okay, 2021. Don't forget it. I know Halo is on everybody's lips. I'm ready to grab that controller as soon as we're done here, but I'm still looking forward to the gunk. But even though there is so many games that we can mention, I will mention one that I have been eyeballing for a long time. It's been, there's like at least hours of footage of this game out there that still the game hasn't released yet, and I am so excited to finally have it in my hands, and that is Atomic Heart. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. It is so crazy.
I just put out that video.
I keep saying it is Kojima's crazy Russian cousin who made that game, because man, that game is awesome in the weirdest, craziest ways. It's pushing technology forward. You know, I think even Nvidia started using that as a marketing tool for the various ray tracing aspects it's got. But it's just got ideas just blowing up everywhere in that thing, and it'll be on Game Pass day one. So if you're a subscriber, you don't have to worry about it. And that is one of many that is coming out like next year, like month after month on Game Pass and in other platforms. So for me, just by the very nature of how long I've been waiting for that game, and how long I've seen it, and I've been, pining, as it were, over that game, I will say definitely Atomic Heart. I could say a bunch of others, but I keep it moving. Atomic Heart, definitely.
Well, no, it's funny because I just tweeted out not too long ago on Twitter a new trailer of some footage that I haven't seen. So check that out.
Okay.
If you haven't already, check
There's
it out.
At least an hour footage of somebody playing it for about an hour online already. Still.
Okay. I probably would avoid that because I kind of want to play it. But anyway, nevertheless. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Fuzz. Get your opinion on like one thing you're looking forward to next year, maybe two. If you can't really make the choice and pick one, I know how hard it is. It's a lot.
Well, I'm gonna go with my main go-to first. That's what I'm gonna start off with, and that's Forza Motorsport. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that next year it will release. Like they get back into the flow of Horizon one year, Motorsport the next, and so forth. I'm fingers crossed, Forza Motorsport releasing next year, and then not too far behind that, Gran Turismo 7. Now, I know they released a trailer. It's got a little some issues in that trailer, but I'm still looking forward to that. Big racing fan, circuit racer. I want to see both of those out in all their glory. Not worrying about them going head to head. I just like their different aspects of how they approach racing, whether it be online or against AI and stuff like that. So looking forward to those. I mean, there's a ton. I sent you guys just a mini Xbox list, and I haven't even begun on the PlayStation 1. But man, there's just so much good stuff coming. But I'll pass to the next guy because we'll be here all night.
No, for sure. It's stacked. Next year is stacked. So I guess I'll just throw my two out there quickly. For next year. So I'm going one. I'm gonna say Starfield. I just think that's gonna. I think just because of what it means to Todd, what it means to Bethesda, what it means for his legacy, I think that one's gonna really put all the chips on the table. We're gonna see another shift in like the way these games are made. I think the scale, the scope, the lore behind that game, I think it's really gonna. I mean, you might get another Skyrim. Skyrim's been around forever. It sold a ton of copies. I think maybe it could be that. And that's a lofty standard, but so we got that. What else? I mean, I would say God of War if it makes next year. I guess some people will push back against that, but if it makes this year, I'm going to say God of War as well. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Pong. Once again, just looking forward to next year, maybe one or two on the top of the list.
No, you already know it's Starfield. Come on, it's all Starfield, all 2020.
That's true. You don't even.
No, it's
even need a second
Starfield. Yeah, outside of Starfield for all the obvious reasons that I've stated so many times on this show and others. Look, 2022 is stacked. I don't have a PS5 yet, but I'm still looking forward to seeing Forspoken, and obviously also Horizon. Both of those, I can't wait to see how they come out and what they look like and how they play and how people enjoy them. I will be hunting a PS5 next year at some point. I have a feeling, especially for Forspoken. That's a game that I don't want to wait 2 years to play. Outside of that, Redfall. I think if there's anybody who can bring something new to the looter shooter, it's going to be Arcane, right? And so I think Redfall's got a chance to hit big. I think it's still flying under the radar because we really haven't seen it outside of some of those leaks. But I think Redfall next summer, depending on when they release it, but I'm assuming probably late summer, July, August area, it's going to be a perfect time for that game. I cannot wait to see what we're going to get out of Redfall. So that is a big one that I'm looking forward to as well. And if Motorsport does make it next year, I'm in. Obviously, always looking forward to that. But yeah, that's what I would say. 2022 is going to be stacked. There's stuff we don't even know about yet. That Atomic Heart is looking ridiculously crazy. It's right up my alley. There's just so much. Stalker 2. I can't wait for Stalker 2. Huge Stalker fan for back in the day. Yeah, there's just so much. It's to the point, like Fuzzy was talking, it's almost to the point. Well, I mean, it is too much because I'm never going to get through all this stuff. But me as a grazer, I'm going to touch everything at least a little bit that I can. But it is at that point already. But 2023 is going to be even worse, gentlemen. So just like I always say, buckle up and get ready because it's never ending from this point out. And depending on how acquisitions go and all that kind of stuff, who knows what else we're going to get. But yeah, Starfield for me, I'm going to be counting. I'm already counting down the days. I just, that game's going to blow it away. 2022, make or break on Starfield for me. So
I already know where you were at. I mean, you didn't even have to go. I could have skipped you altogether.
You could have.
But I mean, to be honest, but let's go ahead and get this over to Centurion, man. Where you at? A couple things you're looking forward to next year.
Well, on the PlayStation side, Horizon Zero Dawn, Forbidden West, and Forspoken, Pong, you kind of like hit the nail on the head with those ones. Those are pretty much my go-to games on the PlayStation side next year, especially Horizon Zero Dawn. I enjoyed the first game. Don't care what nobody says. I enjoyed finding that guy's leg. Definitely, I had a lot of fun playing that game, almost platinumed it out. So definitely looking forward to playing Forbidden West. Onto the Xbox side, of course, Starfield is going to be my cap off for the year, but looking forward to, especially with what you just tweeted at me, Blam, Atomic Heart. Absolutely interesting game. Very amazing concept. I've done videos on it. I've written articles. Blam, I will say go check out some of the gameplay and stuff like that, because the game has been changed so much from its original creation that at this point the video is going to be nothing more than just a pure proof of concept. I don't really think it's going to be nothing too revealing other than the world that you're getting yourself into, both what's going on above ground and what's going on underground, and the creatures that inhabit the robots and creatures that inhabit these worlds. Atomic Heart. Oh my God, I'm throwing words together. Atomic Heart is going to be an amazing game. It's going to be a very unique game, and I really hope this kind of establishes Munfish as a developer for doing something very interesting. But then, I mean, like 2022 is completely stacked, in my opinion. I don't even know where I'm going to start. You know, you're going to have games right off the rip in the beginning of the year, like Rainbow Six Extraction. I'm sorry, but I'm very intrigued by it. We've got Dying Light 2 coming out in February, and the list goes on. And then, of course, I'm sitting back waiting to see what's going to happen over at ZeniMax on the next expansion for Elder Scrolls Online. Every single year, they make the world just that much bigger, and they add that much more story to it. And I keep going back every single year. Especially, I'm getting ready to hop back in now for their end of the year festivals that they have. And I feel like if you haven't checked Elder Scrolls Online out and you're actually into a game that keeps delivering every single year, that would be the one I would suggest to you.
Awesome. Awesome, man. Well, that is going to wrap it up, man, with the look forward to next year, chat. So, once again, we do appreciate everybody watching the show live. Hope you guys all had a fun time with us, man. We're doing this once again next week. Same time, same place, man. But let's go ahead and get to our guests here. Let's go ahead and say our goodbyes and bid adieus. But we'll start with you, Asante. First and foremost, brother, appreciate you hanging out with us, taking a little bit of time. I know you're dying, you're itching to get back to Halo. I know I am too. I can feel it. I know it. One hand on
You'll
the
see me on
controller.
there, man. You'll
Yeah,
see
no,
me
I
on
know,
there.
I know. We'll be in chat. I know. I'll be right there with you. So I'm talking for me too. But either way, appreciate you hanging out with us, man. You're always always super respectful, always welcome here, part of the family. So yeah, let everybody know where they can find you. Let everybody know where they can keep up with you and what you got going on.
Thank you so much. I once again appreciate the invite to be on the show. I am a huge fan, as you know. If I'm not on the show, I'm in the chat. I'm always paying attention. I enjoy the great conversation with the great Pong Soul, with Fuzzy Belvedere, Centurion, and yourself. It's always great to be able to speak with you guys and be among y'all. So I appreciate the invite. We just finished our last show of the year on the Gaming Circle podcast. We had a crazy 4.5 hour episode. Where a bunch of folks just came in and came out, and a bunch of people just kind of jumped in, and we were talking all Halo, and of course, more Game Awards reveals and whatnot. So I appreciate it. Folks haven't gotten to check it out. Please go ahead and check that out. We will be done until 2022 when we come back, hopefully bigger and badder and better. So I appreciate everybody who's able to go check that out. TKO Asante on Twitter, Xbox, PlayStation. I will not give you my social security number, so you cannot find me on the Nintendo Switch. But I appreciate everybody, hanging out and hunting me down on. I've gotten a bunch of Xbox Live followers, which I appreciate. We're gonna be gaming together, and a bunch of people follow me on Twitter, which I also appreciate. I love having the conversations with the community. So once again, thank you guys so much. And I'm going to take some family time, some relaxing, rest and relaxation, except for those, specialty episodes we're going to do when The Matrix and Spider-Man comes out on the reel on Everborn's channel. But we're going to take a little bit of a break from podcasting until 2022. But, y'all can find me there, and I appreciate you guys for having me on, and I will continue to watch all of your great, wonderful content when they come out. So thank you guys.
Appreciate you, Asante, man. Once again, always family. Always welcome here. So once again, guys, if you're a fan here, please do me a favor. His information down in the description below. Go follow him. Check everything he's doing out the podcast. Shout out to Everborn Saga. Got your damn Sega, so you're good to go. I don't want to hear nothing from you the rest of the year
right?
At all.
You're damn right, indeed.
I know, right? Shout out to Everborn. No, that's my guy. But I appreciate you once again, Asante. Always welcome here. And this is actually kind of special, dude. It's the last show of the year for you. So, this is kind of cool to have you on. So it's a pleasure, beyond a pleasure. Our pleasure here at the shop, man. So in chat, you guys are always welcome as too. You guys always treat our guests very well, very respectful. So I thank you guys for that as well. But let's go ahead and get to my fellas. Let's start with you, Pong Harvey. Another good show. Lots of content, bro. Hi. Tell everybody where they can find you if they don't already know.
Could have kept going. Steele and I went. We had to cut ourselves short because Steele had something to do, and we still went over his time limit this morning as well. And by the way, Sante, first of all, fantastic to be on another show with you, brother. As always, love your thoughts, man. And we are going to work out the gaming circle / Living Split Screen Combo Platter 8-hour plus podcast sometime in 2022. Okay. So we are going to make that. Yeah, we are going to make that happen because you get Asante, Everborn, myself, and Steel together. Holy cow. Like we may go for a day. So, but we are going to make that happen in 2022 for sure. But great to have you on the show, man. Love you, brother. And thank you for being here. Brothers,
Thank you.
Obviously Blam, Centurion, and Fuzzy, always, man, love my Saturday nights with you guys, and this was another great one. So lots to talk about. Chat, you guys were off the charts as always with your comments and hanging out with us and listening to us babble about our famous industry, our favorite industry, not our famous industry, our favorite industry. So this was a great night. Thank you all for being here. Nothing but love and respect for all of you that come out and support all these shows. But I am Pong Soul. You can find me that way on Xbox and on Twitter. Tomorrow, if you did not get enough of Living Split Screen this morning, Steel and I are invading Green Pass Gaming tomorrow afternoon. So the gentlemen from across the ocean, across the pond, we're going to invade their podcast. Steel and I have been listening to those guys almost from the beginning since we jumped into this community. Love those gentlemen over there, Flap and the rest of the guys. And we are going to be on their show tomorrow afternoon. I believe it is 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central Time, I believe. Double check, look up Green Pass Gaming on Twitter. If you have not already, they got a great community. It's just an awesome time over there. So just please drop on in tomorrow afternoon and listen to us there. And then obviously Tuesday's Xbox Factor podcast. Double Barrel Gaming is the channel. Mr. Boomstick is the king of that empire over there. Please drop on in there, 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time. Myself, Mav when he's available, which is very often. 3-Bit if he's not working. We got Archimedes. We got Zemi Games, myself. It's always Xbox. You know this Tuesday is going to be filled with Xbox with all the news going on. So please drop on in there. Thursday nights, PM in the PM, Pong and Mav in the PM, Fun Speculations channel. That's right. Now get more of me and Mav doing kind of what Steel and I do on Saturday mornings, just him and I picking out a few topics. Like I said at the beginning of the show, we just did a 5-hour live stream. It almost actually was PM in the AM by that point of the Game Awards. We went so long. But join us there, Fun Speculations channel, PM in the PM, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 o'clock Central Time, Thursday night. Friday nights back over on Fun Speculations channel, Xbox Ultimate, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time, the Magnificent 7. Great time, always great guests. Please drop in on Friday nights. You'll love it, man. It's just such a family atmosphere. And then Saturday mornings, Living Split Screen. Split Screen's all one word. Me and my brother from another Steel Rain. He jumped into the chat tonight. Look, drop on in.
Shout out to Steel.
Shout out to Steel. We just gave away a controller live on the air today. We passed 400 subs. We are on our way to 1,000. We are building a strong community. He and I go for 3 hours plus every Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central Time. Living Split Screen. Please drop on by. As Steel says, it is live, raw, and uncut. Be there. Otherwise, have a fantastic rest of your weekend. Golden age of gaming. You guys are going to fall asleep and dream about that term. It is the golden age of gaming. Play what you love what you play, and I'll talk to you all real soon.
All right, man. Shout out to you, man. Once again, if you don't know, he already told you. So go follow him on Twitter. That's where you'll be able to find everything that's going on with Pong, man. He's not hard to find, I promise you. So shout out to everybody watching. Shout out to you, Pong, for being here as well. Centurion, let everybody know where they can find you, man.
For those interested, you can find me at Centurion1307 on YouTube, Twitter, and of course Xbox Live. You can find me here every Saturday night with these amazing gentlemen right here on the Shop Podcast. You can also find me every Sunday night over on the TXR Podcast with the amazing gentlemen over there. And then I've also been doing a show called Plastic Platforms about every other Monday with Stubbs Gaming. We're actually getting ready to do one this Monday, as a matter of fact. And we've been just having a lot of fun, just having some pretty, I don't want to say casual gaming chat, but I mean, it's just fun to kind of just chat, especially with somebody over in the United Kingdom, and compare how things work over there to over here, and just talk about the major differences in gaming from like literally one side of the world to the other.
Awesome, man. So shout out to you. Shout out to Stubbs as well. Always a great show. So you guys are doing your thing for sure. So keep that up. But once again, you guys know where to find Centurion as well. Go check out his YouTube channel. All of that's down description below. Please do that. Last but not least, Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere. You're a bit more visible now than you used to be. So that's
Yeah.
always good. But let everybody know where they can find you.
Yeah, retired life has its benefits, I guess. But man, this was an awesome show. Thank you, Kay Asante, for joining us tonight. Always fun talking with you as well as my brothers here. Oh man, this gaming stuff is just so much fun, and it's only going to be that much more fun come next year when we got pretty much month after month, week after week, almost day after day, a new game to play. So much fun being here. Thank you to everyone in the chat for coming out. Um, for those that want to see my ramblings on anything Forza related or Halo or Insurgency Sandstorm or anything gaming related, please follow me on Twitter at fuzzy_Belvedere. You can also find me on PSN at fuzzy_Belvedere, on Xbox Live, Fuzzy Space Belvedere, and catch me on Mondays on Tidbits with Mav on Fun Speculations channel. Basically, the week in review of new game releases coming out. So try to see if we can put a spotlight on any of those gems that you may have missed or flew under the radar type of deal. And then you can also find me on Saturdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on FSP, Fun Speculation Podcast, with Mav and Gaming Key. Um, just basically talking about, all the platforms and what's going on with, gaming news for those platforms. And then my home away from home is here on 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at the Shop Podcast with my family. So just so much fun being here with you guys. Awesome time.
Appreciate you, man. Once again, go follow Fuzzy. Got a lot going on now. That retired life is treating you very well. So got a little bit more time to spend on the internet. But appreciate you, man, hanging out. Last but not least, your boy PTK Blam across the board. Xbox Live, PTK Blam on Twitter as well. Follow me there to figure out, everything that's coming up with the show, everything we got going on outside of the show, everything I got going on. Random ramblings on Twitter as well about everything gaming, sports related. So yeah, follow me there. That's where we'll be able to find everything going on. But appreciate you guys. We'll do this again next week, same time, same place. Hit the like button, follow, subscribe. Bye. Good guys. Have a good night. Have a good weekend.